Right. And the last session was not it. And the last session was not it. Go ahead and switch it up. That was not it. That last session was not it. Oh, wait, I just sent her the invite. I sent you an invite too. That was crazy. I just sent it. Y'all must got a radar, then, boy. Only thing that's saving you. Oh, shoot. What the heck that? Sean. Let's see, Sean. Yeah, that first little session wasn't it. We had to reset. That was not it. I don't know what happened.
Hello.
Hey, hi again.
Haha. You're
Well,
supposed to say welcome to the panel.
welcome to the panel, professionally.
Yes. Oh shoot. I'm trying to give some likes. I don't know. Maybe that was it. There was not enough likes.
Please write something. I
I was
don't know
like,
what.
what the heck? That was just so weird.
Weirdos. I'm like, no, he must have did an undercover promotion.
Ah!
No more
No,
promotion.
no, it was so bad. I was looking for Sasuke. Like I literally,
Right, he was looking like he
yeah,
gotta be right here.
he gotta be in here.
Oh my god, that's the sneakiest.
Isaac, did you say thank you?
What
Oh,
happened?
sorry. No, I was talking to Isaac.
Only thing that's saving you. Let's see, I sent my boy the star. Sent him an invite. Let's get it, man. Hopefully we can get off on smoother terms. We had everybody that had bad signals. Everybody was keep unmuting their mic, all type of stuff. I don't know what was going on.
Yeah, I just finished making dinner, so I'm gonna be eating. Just to let you
Hey,
know.
hey, real good too. Mm-hmm. I mixed them chips with the candy. Some nasty taste. Snacking on all this stuff on the field. All right. Get up this thing at 9:15. 9:15. Mm-hmm. Get my water. Victimhood era. I had to say era. I wanted to say generation, but you know how they want to separate it. Well, that's y'all generation. That's the new generation coming up. No, y'all part of it. Everybody. It's the whole era.
Hmm.
I see some dang on 70-year-olds acting like babies. I'm saying, oh. Oh man. Hmm. Yeah, I thought the safer one.
Yeah. Hello?
What's up?
What's up,
Hey,
man?
welcome
How are
to the
y'all?
panel.
Good.
Doing well. How are you?
I'm good. I'm good. I just this is why I don't believe in coincidence. I just got kicked off some real buffoonery live
Ooh.
for and it's to me it's in relation to this kind of.
Mm-hmm.
Hmm. Tell us more. What happened?
So as a I don't believe in race anymore. Like that's a social construct. But for sake of conversation, as someone that grew up in the black community, I kind of had it difficult too because my mom's albino. So it was almost like I had to prove to kids when I was younger, like, nah, bro, I'm really black. Like I'm black. I think black people have the hardest time being accountable, and that's like the biggest thing in the black community's way is the black community
Mm-hmm.
because there is no accountability. Like we have to take accountability for the figures that we anoint, and we have chose to anoint entertainers and athletes, even though those are essentially one and the same. And it's just like, well, no wonder we unalive each other at the craziest rate of any other race because it's just like, well, you got babies listening to Lil Durk, and like I listen to rap music. I'm not gonna come on here and say like, oh, I'm this most stoic, guy, and I don't do nothing like that. But it's just like when you make that the forefront or the representation of your community, yeah, that's what you're gonna see. So until you be accountable for that and say like, I don't know, maybe let's anoint a doctor or even at the bare minimum a lawyer, maybe we'd see different results. But it's just like even growing up, I grew up in the poorest, whitest, least educated state in the world, and it was still like this with like the black people here. It was still like this power struggle of like I'll go struggle with you. You can't out struggle me, and that was like the whole black identity. And it's just like, and it was never the question of like, well, how can we not struggle? How could we not do what our parents did and what their parents did? How can we make a difference and do something new?
True.
So the panel you were on, you think they were being sensitive about what, the past?
Yes. I'm one of those, I'm a firm believer. Well, the prompt was, can black people be racist? And I asked as soon as I got on the panel, I asked, so is black a race? And they were like, yeah. And they were like offended off the rip, were offended. And I was like, okay, so if I were black and I held prejudice against a different race solely for their race, would I not be racist? And they were like, no, you idiot. Like, have you ever read a book? I said, okay, well, what's the definition of racism? Is it not a prejudice formed from race? And then I got called every form of stupid and idiot, and then they blocked me. They kicked me off the line. I said, for what?
I'm not gay, but I love you.
Oh, okay. That means he agrees. You could have just said I agree.
Oh,
Hey, doctor. How you doing?
doing pretty good. How are you?
Doing well, thank you. Wait, did Hambone, did you already answer the oh, okay, yeah, you did. Is this the victimhood error?
Yes, 100%.
All right.
You better off being a victim than the solution. You get more attention, more money, more viewership by being a victim. And now the world in ruins because everybody's a victim of nothing. Like you can't be a victim of nothing. Like I'm not a victim of slavery. I'm not a victim of 1940 whatever redlining. I'm not a victim of fighting on the front line in the Civil War. That didn't happen to me. Could I
Right,
have
and I'm not a
empathy for those
perpetrator.
people? Huh?
I said, and I'm not a perpetrator.
Correct. Like, do I have empathy and sympathy for the wrongdoings that have happened to black people? Yeah, but that was 10, 15 generations ago.
Of course.
I ain't Harriet Tubman. I'm free. Like I ask black people that all the time. Like, well, what rights do you have that white people don't?
Oh, sorry, I was over there chewing.
All right, let's get a doctor. I see you trying to get in. So what you got for me, man?
I think it is the victimhood era. I think um, parents just don't have enough. same amount of control over their kids that they used to. So kids will leave the house and go and find people their age that'll validate their feelings, which are generally extremely emotional feelings. And then they'll just gather into a big group and it'll get worse.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I feel that. All right. I got you. So let me get Christina. What the heck? She got about 40 pages. What's going on?
Oh, my other account got locked out. Hey,
Why you
sorry.
got
No,
Oh, I
this,
think
3,000 pages for?
Kev, I think it was Cece first.
yeah,
All right,
they
Cece,
can
go
go
ahead.
Hey,
first.
Cece.
I thought she was just my, you know, she. Go ahead, Cece.
Hello, Mr. Kev. Hello, Miss Rachel.
All right.
Oh.
Okay, how you all doing? Hello, panel. Um, First question is this the victimhood era? I would say yes. Um, I mean, you look around, that's all that's being displayed. Like, I heard the guy was saying that you get paid off of your victimhood and everything. I see that a lot. Why do I really think that is happening is I do blame like the soft parent. Well, yeah, I'll say
Mm-hmm.
I
Say it
I
with
would
your
say
chest. Say it with your chest.
I would say I blame the soft parent. You know what I mean with that is not the parents that are taking the what is it, the I can't even think of the word, Lord help me. Not the parents that actually take the approach the way they're supposed to in the sense, but the parents that more so like coddle their child and like, yeah, if this is like that, then yeah, you deserve to like, you know, have all these different types of, yeah, you right, like, because I wasn't raised like that. I was raised, you fall off the bike, tough it up, suck it up, you and you keep it going. These kids these days, they've been done wrecked the whole bike and it's over for me. I was raised where you get bullied, you learn how to talk smack back. These kids, they bullied me and I can't believe it. It's like, no, toughen up. It's like they are not built like us, like they said, but it's like they don't have the tough skin. And I believe that the not having the tough skin came from the parents just call it, I can't speak. Lord have mercy, help me.
Lack of control.
Oh, yeah, they don't have any emotional control, and they think that anytime that they have an outburst, that woe is me, and everybody should. But the world grab it. Well, we have to help them. We have to. Now everything is anxiety, depression, and this is that, and it's like this whole mental health thing that I would think is like in a sense under the victimhood because it's like once you ask them what's the source of it, it's because this and that happened and this happened and they did this to me and they did that to me that made me be like this. It's like I had a whole lot of things happen to me, and I had to realize that at some point in my time, the world does not revolve around me, and not everybody's gonna give a F about how I feel. Not necessarily that I need to go out in the world and make everybody else feel that way, but I have to be in control of how I respond to things, not allow the things that happen to me control me in a sense, if anybody understands that, because some people allow themselves to fall into a thing of I'm feeling this way because of this and that happened to me. And it's
Mhm.
like you have to switch that around and say, because this and that happened to me, I've learned it didn't make me a worse parent, a worse person, but it made me a better person. And I've learned a lesson. And I think the victimhood is not learning a lesson within it. They're just learning how to become more and more and more of a victim to the same situation, if not worse situations, just to get more attention in a sense to me. I hope all that made sense. I
Yeah.
really want to come on the camera because I know I didn't come on for my birthday, but my husband took me out and we did I did come on that night. We did a whole
Mhm.
winery thing. And yeah, so I kind
Yeah,
of felt
Ooh,
bad
support,
when he
man.
come
You ain't
back.
had to do
a
all
wine
that.
tour? A wine
Man,
tour?
yes, man, we did wine tasting.
Woo!
It was so fun.
Dang.
Yep, I was so happy. I was like, wine tasting. I always want to do it. He know I love wine. And then we got
That's
two
cute.
bottles and a registration to like keep him coming in. He's like, now you can register to get him in. So yes, ma'am. But thank you, Mr. Kev. I hope that was understandable. I'm
Oh yeah,
sorry, y'all.
for sure. Yeah, you already know, man. You need to enjoy that day, man. You ain't gotta be grinding and stuff. You can miss a couple days. I got some people that's on
Right.
the verge of getting fired anyways, though. So hey, you know, see, so you never get fired. You done follow me from here to fan base to hear again.
Yes, sir.
Let's see. Taha, what you got for me? Welcome back. I remember your name.
Peace, peace, brother. How you doing, man?
I'm good,
So,
man.
I totally identify with Charlotte. She was saying some things, and listen. I happen to witness it. This ain't even just coming from something I might see on social media, and I have to say it's not for all, okay? But women of this generation are a whole lot stronger than most of the men of this generation. I've
That's cool.
seen it. You know what I'm saying? So I have to give them their props because they'll come through and handle some stuff. And like, for example, this young lady, this was a couple years back, and my heart jumped because I'm from Brooklyn, New York. I'm minding my business, walking by. Me and her bumped into each other. So I didn't really say nothing, and because she bumped, I'm like, she bumped me, she ain't say nothing, but shoot, she turned around, was like, yo, my dude, you just bumped me. And I'm like, and my heart jumped. I was like, yo, this girl, she about to knock me out. So I had to accept that, right?
Oh,
But
that type
then
of
I
tough.
worked. Oh yeah, she was tough. She was
That
like,
masculine tough. I
yeah,
got
and
you.
I was like, all right, bet. I said, she was like, yo, you didn't apologize. My apologies. I wouldn't even ask her for an apology. I was like, bump it. It's your world, boo. But then some of the young brothers, I've noticed, they like to play around a lot. And, which is cool. You know what I'm saying? They want to enjoy life, nothing wrong with that. They don't want to look fly, nothing wrong with that. But when it comes down to taking care of business, man, well, some women do the complaining, but the dudes are doing a lot of freaking complaining. And I'm like, yo, what the heck are you complaining for? You have a lot of opportunities. Why are you complaining? Put your big boy jeans on and go to work. So I have to acknowledge that the generations today, as a whole, um, they're not, and I've never seen this before. They're not stepping to business the way I would assume they should step to business without feeling kind of soft or afraid. But the women are doing the most speaking, yo. I mean, some of them complain too, but I feel the women are doing a lot of speaking because I had to think about that after my experience with, the young brother. I have to look around, make sure he ain't around here, because then they'll start complaining. But now, here's the thing, though. There's a difference because, like, for me, right? I grew up with my aunt, right? And she had like five sons. She raised me, right? Amongst her five sons, because, I lost my parents when I was young. And, that's what that
Hey,
was.
Taha,
I,
before you do that, because there's more people over here that gotta talk. You about to go for another
yeah, yeah,
story?
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So, what's your summary of like the sum up of this? Like, do you believe?
The
Oh,
sum up is I think they have way too much opportunities and they're being pampered. You know what I'm saying? These
okay.
are these are mama's babies and daddy's babies. That's what that
Oh,
is.
oh wow.
Yeah,
I ain't heard it that way. Okay,
yeah,
okay. Okay. All
yeah.
right, let me get Christina. You back?
I'm back. It's Christiana, but it's okay.
Christina. Okay. You got about 40 names down. Like me.
Yeah, well, that's my real name. My other account got locked out, so I'm on this one right now, and my other one. But I think the reason why this era is very emotional today is because we don't hold each
We
other
on the first one.
accountable.
We just on the first white one.
Oh, hold on, wait. Oh, it is. I would say
You
it
did.
is.
Okay.
Very much victimhood. I agree. I think it was with Charlotte about the anxiety and stuff like that. Because as somebody who's been through a lot as a child up to this age, I don't blame my childhood for the reason why I have anxiety attacks and panic attacks. And I feel like a lot of people they like to use that as an excuse for why they just tap out of reality. So I'll be honest, like as somebody who has been diagnosed with it, I refuse to take I refuse to take medication for it. It doesn't make me feel good. So for someone to be like, oh, it's my anxiety. No, it's not. Because if you have anxiety, you wouldn't really talk about it. You wouldn't really, oh my God, it's my anxiety. I'm having panic anxiety. You don't know how to really react to it. So I feel like a lot of people use that as an excuse to tap out of reality and actually fit, to avoid what's really going on. And so they want people to feel bad for them. Reality, it's you're the one that caused it. You're the one that triggered it. You should know your triggers and how to control it.
All right.
That's that.
For sure. I'll take that. Okay. Ness. You next, then CJ.
Awesome. Thanks for having me.
For sure, for sure.
I think absolutely it is. I think very rarely as adults do things happen to us. We will cause situations. That doesn't mean that it's our fault, but we're able to cause situations and then play the victim. Because playing the victim is easier than taking accountability. If I can put the blame somewhere else, then it's easier for me to process my emotions. I can be angry at you. How dare you do this to me? Instead of saying, oh, I probably caused this anyway, right? And like Christiana was talking about down there, your childhood. I am so tired of that childhood argument. I grew up in East Europe, post-war. Like everything's war torn. I grew up in a village. All of this stuff. Like I hate when people in the States specifically love to have trauma. I promise you, you don't. I promise you have no idea what it's like to see trauma, to have trauma. Just because your parents didn't love you, I'm sorry. You'll be fine. I promise. Like, it's one of those things where that word has been thrown around so easily that it holds no weight anymore, and that's why we are the way that we are now.
Hold on a second, Ness. Where you from? You said East Europe or something
Yes,
like
sir.
that?
Yeah, Bosnia.
Hey, yo, y'all bold like that out there?
What do
I
you
gotta
mean?
go to East Europe, yo. Y'all, you sound pretty tough when you said that. I got to. All right, bet. Say no more. I got you.
All right, let's get CJ in.
I honestly have to agree with a lot of the statements. I think the victimhood era is literally a lot of people who, while a traumatic event may have happened, it didn't shape or reform their life. It's not the kind of trauma, kind of like what Ness was saying, that creates real issues in a human being, so long as you heal from them. A lot of what people call their trauma nowadays, or they claim they're a victim of things that they essentially have no real claim to victimhood over. It is a, okay, yeah, I got spanked by my dad as a kid. Move the heck on. Like, get over it. There's a lot of that, oh, feel bad for me, because of the, when you're a victim, when you can blame someone else, when you can call abuse or this, even if it wasn't, but you're making these claims and calling this, you're essentially making an excuse for your poor behavior, your poor decision making, so that nobody really calls you out on your BS. Because how are you going to sit there and look at somebody in the face and be like, this is BS, the way you're acting is BS, and they go, oh, well, my daddy hit me. Like, what's the response there? You're like, so I think that's where the victimhood era is no one's really willing anymore now to stand up and say, pull your big boy pants on, put your boots on, and go to work. Like, fix it. So that's my opinion.
All right, then not likely. Then we can do a little open panel.
So I can just start.
We just on the first white one.
Okay. It most definitely is a victimhood era. And I mean, like I said, I'm a correctional officer in the state of Florida. And I feel like the people in certain communities, like for example, the gay community, they talk about how they're oppressed and how they're victimized, but I'm gay and I'm not victimized. Or people in the black community talk about how they're oppressed, but I'm black and I'm not oppressed. So if I can be black and I can be gay and I can be successful and be in a position of power, you can too. The only difference is that people take pleasure in victimhood, because when you're a victim, you get attention, you get special privileges, and you can do whatever you want to do without the same sense of accountability as someone who is quote unquote privileged. And that's the issue in today's society.
Okay. Open panel, y'all. What y'all got for me? Or, babe, you want to go?
Now,
Oops,
I just
sorry.
want to
I was
say, who
gonna.
was that? Not likely. I'm sorry. Thank you for saying that. Not likely. I like that. I appreciate you.
Oh, okay. Yeah, sorry, I was about to write something in the chat. Everybody already said it. This is definitely a victimhood era. Everybody got an issue. Honestly, I think it's a victim Olympics. To be honest.
I like that.
Yeah, everybody like it's like who's got the worst problems in this world, you know? And then they plaster on social media. And then also like how people can prop their cameras to cry. That I will never understand that. That's a wild thing to cry and then just cut off the camera and it's like, yeah, I'm gonna post this.
And edit it, and all of the
Right? Like what?
please.
I could, yeah. I remember I was feeling sad about something one time. I thought, and I was like, no, that's psychotic. That's legit. That's something wrong. That's wrong. Like to not have that little time where you actually think about it and be like, that's weird.
You ever gone to like a grocery store and you've seen like two old people talking about the medications that they take and the surgeries they've ever had?
Wait, they what?
You ever seen like two old people in a grocery store and they're always talking about how they're on a certain medication with each other and how they had this surgery and that? That's what it
Yes,
gives. Like they're just like competing with each other.
absolutely. And then it's like people are rewarded for their their issues, right? They got GoFundMe's, they're I don't know, they get more popularity, they get more notor you can become famous off of your victimhood, you know?
I
So
agree. Hi, y'all.
What's up?
hey, Imperial Lady, what's
Welcome back.
up?
Welcome back.
How's everybody's day?
Blessed.
Doing good.
Let's keep that going then. Go ahead. I just wanted to speak.
It's on you, anyways. You haven't win, then we can go back to Oklahoma.
Okay, well, I wanted her to finish her thought. As wait, I'm learning the lingo. Land her plane appropriately.
Oh, the plane done landed, child.
Oh,
Actually,
okay.
I got into a plane crash and now I need to go fund me. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, hey, make sure the trays are in the upright position. That's all.
Need
We
more
got
than that,
severe in here.
boy. If it's a
No
plane
bullshit.
crash,
We
ain't
got you.
nobody.
Right. We ain't letting you fall. We ain't letting you crash. Not at all. What is that? The subject is this the victimhood era? Yes, absolutely. You know what? It reminds me of Rocky when the Don King character touched me and I'll sue. I felt like it was the era then, even back then. When everybody decided, instead of handling things amicably like two people, you were just going to try to make it hurt. If somebody agreed or disagreed with you, if they agreed with you, you were fine. If they didn't agree with you, they were going to pay the price for doing so. There was no more, we agree to disagree, or we'll come to some kind of amicable thing, or we'll come to even a collaboration. It's not about you being submissive or me being submissive. Let's use, collaboration, because that means that's the best of you and the best of me. That's one of my philosophies. And yeah, it is a victimhood area at this point. I try not to be a part of it. I feel like if something hurts me, I want to acknowledge it and I want the other person to do so as well, but I can't force that clarity. And sometimes the clarity is somebody just not giving a fuck about how you feel, and you need to go forward and move on with that. You can't just stay in that victim mode because, your spouse that you thought you invested so much time and money into didn't choose you. So now you're going to take them to child support. You weren't thinking about it before, but then you want to do it on a malicious, ignorant intent. The man doesn't choose you when you try to when he steps to you, and then now you a bald headed bitch and you ugly anyway. It's just about not taking that negative energy and that spirit of rejection or feeling some type of way personally, and then vomiting all that venom onto somebody else. So I can land there. Thank you for the opportunity.
For sure, for sure. If y'all real quick, if y'all can, if y'all have not share yet, go ahead and share it out. Hold y'all finger on the prompt for like 2-3 seconds, then you can share it out. If y'all want to, y'all can send a little spicy gifts if y'all like the live or something like that. That might help push me more on the algorithm. If you've been in my live before or want to be back more, you can subscribe. Use y'all piece of money. Go ahead and subscribe. I might throw it down there in the chat. And then also, what I feel like I haven't said though. Hashtag FYP. Dang, it's something I feel like I'm missing. I ain't been doing this for a long. But oh yeah, join the team. Join the team too. That little heart up at the top near my name. You can just join the team. That's 1 penny, and we good though. So everybody,
I
it's all open.
I gave it all it's got, Captain.
Good luck, good luck, good luck.
I got a question. So, because it's the victimhood error, do you guys believe that the group with the most like victimization has the most power?
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
that's a
If
good
you
one.
like if someone is consistently at the bottom, right? Those are the people that you want to see crawl their way to the top. But when you're keeping yourself there, that doesn't change for everybody else. So, like we can talk about, like for example, okay, not like you was down there was talking about how he's a correctional officer, if I'm not mistaken. My husband, he's Nigerian. He's a sheriff's deputy, and he's like, I have never. He tells me all the time. He's like, this is the nicest job. He's like, I encounter nice people all day, every day, but the people that
That's wonderful.
it is. It really is. Like he really loves his job. Like he just, it's just traffic stops and, I mean,
No,
nothing
thank
too
you for
crazy.
him and the other young man's service. Absolutely. Thank you for your service. It still
But
can be risky sometimes.
the part he'll say all the time, like I've never had an issue at work with someone saying something negative about his skin color or anything like that. But he'll say he's like the time that I get the most backlash in general, he's like, when I'm with you. Now, I will say we look a little weird. We look a little weird because I'm 6'2", he's 5'7", and I just do want to preface that so that when people
I love if I can interject, I love a short man. I don't understand what women
Right.
are doing with the lack of short men. I love it. They
He's
little
not even
Tasmanian devils.
short.
They are little Tasmanian devils. I don't care. I'm 5'8". If you shorter than
Not
me, I couldn't give a fuck. I see them popping the balloon things, and people just be. It's the height thing. That's it. You ain't let the man speak or say anything. I'm just like, come on now, get to know that character. Don't be saying what's wrong with me. Why can't I find a nice man and the one that may be suited for you? You may not be able to wear them heels the same way. Give people a chance.
when
Don't
I
make
when
them a victim.
I wear heels, I'm probably about on a good day 6'6", 6'7". So it's like I
Air up there, mama.
Good Lord, some Amazon women.
No, what kind of heels? No, what the
no, because they're
Yes,
only about
ma'am.
4 inches. Because I'm
She got
6'2".
heels.
If he is, she's 6'2" and put
Oh
on
no,
5
she's
inches. That's
6'2".
Yeah,
yeah, right.
yeah.
Baby,
So
they thought I was tall.
Girl, hey, but I bet you have a strong, confident man. He'll like, hey, I'll climb that tree. I'll climb
he
that
sure
Amazon.
does. Oh,
That's
my
right.
country is the second tallest country in the world. My dad's Croatian, so Croatia's the second tallest country in the
Ain't
world. So
no
that's why we're
climbing
all.
that one. You gotta
There you
fly
go.
a
I
plane.
love it. Put some stats and some slacks on that.
I
There you go.
know.
That's what's
It was
up.
so funny. Just a little side note. Our wedding, all of the girls were taller than the guys that they were walking with. It was a show.
Oh, it sounds
It was
adorable.
What the
amazing.
heck is going on? What's in y'all food?
A
Right.
lot
I'm
of
about to follow
bread.
you just
A
to
lot
see
of
the
bread.
They done switched it up. They ain't lying.
Baby, Nest the Stallion. There you,
Ooh.
there you go, girl. That's glorious. Finish going. Go ahead.
I don't even know where I was going
That's so
now, but
wonderful.
You were saying that your partner when you guys walk together, that's when you get the most attention.
yes. People first of all look at us like we're crazy. I don't know if it's the skin color difference because I'm very, very pale and he's obviously really dark, and so and I'm really tall and he's on the shorter side, so maybe it's those things. But he's had women come up to him and say, like, how dare you, basically,
Oh
like,
no.
be with a white woman.
They're
And
ignorant.
I've had white
Oh,
women,
is it
white
black
men
woman?
come up to me and say, how dare you. So it's one of those.
Wait, what color women come up and say that? All
To
of them?
him, it's just our respective races. So black women will come up to him and say, "How dare you?" And I'll have usually white men say it to me. So
Right.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
And see, that's just a jealousy of connection. Just
And
don't be
it's
mad
one of
because I found somebody that I
Was they
love and that
single
loves
too?
me.
it's weirdly enough people we don't know. It'll be in the gym or it'll be like pull him aside for a second. It's just the craziest like level
People
of
that have no
ego.
fucking right at all.
Yeah.
That's so
They're
nosy.
just negative, evil, ignorant people.
Yep.
And
And
don't
that's
let them
probably the
seep into your
most.
happiness. Not at all.
And see, that's what I'm saying. They've created, like, on both sides, this whole victim mentality of like, you're not with someone like me, so you're wrong, and now you've ruined something. And it's like, what are we talking about right now?
Right. What are you doing? What are you saying?
Legacy.
And why do you feel so
Absolutely.
emboldened to come up and say this to me? Like you don't have anything else going on in your life, in your head, in your heart that you don't have the decency or respect or courtesy or character to just move the hell along and have that
Absolutely.
as an inner monologue thought. Even if I can't control people's inner monologue. You can't. You can never control anybody's inner thoughts. But the fact that you feel so emboldened and powerful to come up to either one of you separately, individually, or as a couple and say something, that's just rude and ignorant.
Mm-hmm.
I'm
Right.
glad
Let
that you
me
guys maintain that bond and don't even let that seep in. Congratulations. And I'm sorry you
Thank
have to deal
you.
with such ignorant people.
It is what it is. The world is the world, but we try to teach
well,
our children that things don't happen. A lot of things don't happen to you. You just have to deal with things as they go. People aren't always nice, but the core of the world is good, and that's what we always try and teach them. Like, people are inherently good, but there will be people that say bad things. Just
I
take
highly
that with a grain
disagree
of
with
salt.
that, but hey, we rock with
You
that.
know what? I had to
But
unlearn that. I had to unlearn that. In my childhood, I was sheltered. I lived on the south side of Chicago, 3 blocks, and my mother and I lived on one block. My aunt lived on one block. My grandmother lived on another block. And the same block that was my school, my grandmother lived on that block. And I got walked to and from school from kindergarten, Head Start, first through seventh grade. So I didn't have a chance to grow into myself. And my thing was, I watched Barney and I watched Power Rangers, and that was it. Zoobly Zoo and Eureka's Castle and all those innocent things. And I thought for a very long time in my naive nature that if I all you have to do is be good and do good and tell the truth and people will be good to you. And there were just people that just hated that good energy from me and that positive energy from me that would attack me or harass me and belittle me and berate me. Even if you didn't want to be my friend, you still went out of your way to try to be an ass, and that was really rough to deal with. And it was just like I had to unlearn some of the positive things that I learned, not just because it was necessary for functioning, but because I was internalizing all that shit and it was changing who I was and how I was. And I had to stop that. And I was like, you know what? You can't treat everybody the same way once they show you that you cannot, trust them with your energy. And, I still have trouble with that today. I just had my 40th birthday, April 14th. And
Happy
I
birthday.
swear, it is really rough to know that people are just mean and nasty and vindictive. And, I understand pain changes people because it absolutely does, but it doesn't make them a victim to the point where they get to treat everybody like dog shit.
I definitely agree. Like I said before, I worked in corrections, and before I ever
Thank you
joined
for your
corrections,
service.
thank you. I mean, and just to throw out there, correctional officers, we get like the shit because of what police officers do. Not all, but some of them. So we get like the bad rap.
Right.
And
There's no accountability that, that they shouldn't have not done what they did to end up where you're governing their life and
exactly, whether
lifestyle. They
it's
are in their victimhood era until they take responsibility.
exactly, it's exactly what it is. So I mean, growing up though, I mean, like I said, I was always taught like law enforcement is bad. White people are this, that, and the third. And so I it's began to unlearn that and realize that everyone's literally the same, and I have the same opportunities as my white peers. And so, and I go into the facility every single day, and I try to push that narrative. I try to be nice to everyone. I don't call the inmates by their number. I call them by their last name if I remember. But some of these people, they just have like this innate inability to change and realize that they're in the position they're in, not because of a system or because of a specific race, but because of their own actions. And that's what's really frustrating.
all right, so let me get for y'all know I'm short today. Let me start with no, I think CJ, you wanted to say something. Then after you go, then I'm gonna get not like us to start the next prompt.
No, no, sir. I was just actually everyone that said something that I agreed to. I just unmuted for a second just to
Oh,
say 100%, 1000%. I agree with you.
okay. I had thought I was
I
in there.
am 100% on your page right now in your statement. So that's all I was saying.
That's
I
right.
fully
Okay, I feel
agree.
you on. I feel you on that. Okay, so not like us. We're gonna start with you. Then we're gonna go to Imperial and up and end it with my babe.
Thank you.
He
What?
said he's not like you. Not like you.
Right.
That's not a bad thing.
What could be the reason? Is that the first one?
Yeah. What could be the? Yeah. Yep.
What could be the reason? What could be the reason this hair is so emotional today? I think we have a right, definitely Gen Z. I think they have a right to be emotional. And I think it's because we grew up with parents who grew up in a generation where it was unacceptable for men to cry or to display any type of emotion or to show any type of disagreement with, superiors as your or authority figures like your parents or
Oh my
principals.
God.
And we have begun to
Absolutely agree.
unlearn those things, and that's why we're so emotional as a society.
Mm, okay. Uh, Imperial, go ahead.
Okay. I can say that, sir, you are absolutely 1,000% right, because I feel like what could be the reason this era is so emotional today? It's because we grew up. I'm a 1985 baby, so I was born in the 80s, grew up in the 90s. But I grew up with a parent that grew up with a parent that had the "because I say so" thing. My thing is that's the dumbest shit you could ever tell a parent or anybody. Because I said so. I understand that you had me. I have a gratefulness that I am here. I could have ended up in a napkin. But the fact of the matter is, you're still the authoritative figure in my life. So if I want to question what your logic of leading me is, why is it a personal attack, something that's going to get me slapped in the fucking mouth? It shouldn't be. You're my leader. You're my parent. You're the one that's supposed to be governing my life until I can govern it for myself. You see what I'm saying? So if I want to ask you questions about where the leadership is going, I don't feel like I should be labeled a disrespectful, ignorant ass, a non-respectful of elders child. My thing is, you can't have it both ways. In this in the era for things that go on, you can't say, "Oh, well, don't ask me stuff, don't question grown folk, don't talk, about things like that, and what happens in our house stays in our house." But then I go and I can't get leadership from you. But then I go to my friends, and then you want to hit me with, "Oh, well, if your friends, you're going to listen to your dumbass friends. And if your friends walk off a cliff, you going to jump off the cliff?" Yeah, I probably will. You know why? Because I at least was able to talk about the cliff with my peers. You're leaving me with no leadership if you're going to sit up there and say, "I can't talk to you about certain things." Personal thing, my mother got pregnant at 16. She was the daughter of a reverend. So I was like, okay. Now she married my father. She was 23, he was 32, and then she had another child with my stepdad. They never married, but they were together in a common law for about 23 years. And I had to struggle with that. You're saying that I'm raised a certain way, and you're trying to raise me a certain way, but then you're doing things that negate the fact that that would be okay. So when I heard out in the streets, "Oh, well, if your mama ain't got 3 kids by 3 different fathers of their children, does that label her a whore?" And I couldn't talk to my mother about that. And I see, obviously I couldn't phrase it in that certain way, but I'm saying that left me in a conundrum mentally because we couldn't talk about it. you know it wasn't like I wanted to belittle my raising or discredit my lineage or something like that, but I didn't want to make her emotional to the point that she would hate me, but I still wanted guidance on that subject. So when promiscuity came into the factor, I didn't feel comfortable or have a safe space to talk about it with my mother and stuff like that. She told me how the fallopian tubes worked and how a woman's, personal cycle went. She didn't tell me if a man licked my nipple, I was going to have a sensation. And that was a real conversation that we should have had, seeing as it happened for you, at least at 16. So, it's really hard to be a person that has emotions when you're raised in a certain level or a state where emotions don't factor. It's all about, standard and stature and what went on before and what our parents did before us. And that's not always the right way. I land. Thank you.
Okay, okay, okay. Christine. Oh wait, hold up. We gonna get it right. Hold up. Chris. Hold up. We gonna get it right. Hold up. Christiana.
Hey. Sorry, I'm gonna
Woman.
go. You skip me. I'm currently working out right now.
All right. All right. CJ, what you got for me?
Get it, girl.
CJ. The one from not from San Andreas. Well, all right. Let's get my baby in. What you got for me?
Yay! hey. Okay, be professional. I don't know why I'm so
Oh, I love
giggly
that shit.
today.
I love it. Cause you said my baby and she ain't flinch. She's like, yep, and that's me, and is. I love that shit. That's security. Go ahead.
You silly. So, I think a lot more people were in a more emotional era because oh yeah, a lot of people we don't have to go through as much, right? So we're trying to find little things to make it like difficult. Like we lack the resilience necessary to be strong, to be mentally strong, right? So we have to like train ourselves because back in the days, like that's like mental training, all the stuff that they had to go through, right? To strengthen their minds. But now, I mean, our minds are kind of weak. They real fragile. We're not really
Mm.
working it out. So, um,
You watching my baby?
stop. I'm trying to be
My bad, my
professional.
bad, my bad, my bad.
I'm losing my thought.
No,
But
fuck that shit. I love hearing her blush over the phone. That's what's up. I love that. I can see. I know them cheekbones is way high.
they
And
are.
but see, that's the and this ain't even the conversation. But I love that energy that she is so in her feminine and you're so in your masculine. You're like, hey, baby, go ahead. And she like, yes, sir. I
Oh
can. I
my
will. I am. I shall.
God.
Right?
Stop it.
Speak your
Oh my
piece,
goodness.
queen. He told you he ready. I'm ready too. His belief in me, and the belief in the panel, and belief in you. I'm with the shit. Speak your shit, girl.
Thank you, Imperial. Okay, now I gotta go on mute.
Ah man.
Now she blushing too hard. She like, wait.
Yeah.
But you want that energy. You want that energy from men and women and just people in general. It doesn't have to be a man or a woman. It's just lovely to be in conversation with
Ain't
people
that
that make
rare
you
though?
feel
That's just so
beautiful and
rare.
confident.
It's rare to
And
hear.
it is rare. And you do have to, and that's the thing. I understand minding your business, but there's minding your business to a fault. Sometimes we do need to step in and say, hey, that's not okay, or hey, that's fucking awesome. And not have any hate or malice or jealousy. Yeah, I want it for myself, but I'm glad she got it with you.
Hmm.
That's the cool ass shit part. That's what takes us out of the victim era. It really does. Hey, I do want better for me, but if you've got better and I don't have it, I don't covet your goods. I don't want to take it from you. I want you to have it 10, 20 fold. But I do want to seek that for myself. And when I do, hopefully I'll be happy and people will be happy for me. That's not always the world we living in, but it is a nice one.
Hmm.
If you can find it.
Okay. Is Musclehead done working out yet or not?
You so silly.
Yeah, which topic are we on now?
Because
We on
muscle
the
should be
first one.
working out.
On the which
We on the
one?
first one. What could be the reason? Emotional people.
I mean, they kind of already said it for me. I mean, honestly, from what I've seen growing up, I would say it's the parents. Parents, and obviously not, and even my generation, I'm Gen Z, but we don't hold each other accountable for nothing. Every time somebody gets in trouble, whether it's with like law enforcement or just in general, they always blame on mental health as an excuse for why things are happening for them. Um,
Mm, okay.
so I would definitely say it's because of those reasons. Also, what people said already before, they're parents. What your parents go through is not your fault. I'm sorry you got your ass beat as a kid, but like, it doesn't mean you have to beat my ass. It's like that's victim blaming, and it's trauma dumping as well. It's not good for us and for our kids in the future.
Right. And people always say, oh, well, at the end of the day, I'm like, no, there's a beginning of the day. There's 23
Ooh.
other hours between the end of the day. Let's
Ooh.
start at the beginning. Let's not forget the beginning. And everybody, if you may question or scrutinize your parenting or your parent, or what your parents did, or your parent did, or your foster parent did, or whatever thing, I was on a panel and the gentleman was like, okay, so you could have not been born. Shouldn't you just be grateful? I'm like, yes, I can be grateful, but that doesn't mean accountability is lost. That doesn't mean I don't get to have questions or thoughts or different, feelings about how I was raised and how what I saw affected me. My first relationship that I saw was with my mother and my stepfather, 23 years, and they did have, DA. I'm learning how to speak in groups and everything that you can't say the whole thing. They did have, I'm sorry, not DA, DV, and the police knew our address, and I wasn't embarrassed by it. I didn't have any personal feelings about it except for the fact that, you know, the fact that you guys could flip a switch so fast and be fighting and then not fighting. You could rip up some concert tickets on the table and then tape them back together so you guys could go together. And it sticks in my mind, that back and forth. Like personal example besides the other one, there's a picture, there's a Polaroid, and it's in our family pictures, and it's the Christmas tree in the back, and they're sitting in the living room of the house we used to share, and he's sitting on my stepfather is sitting on sitting down. My mother is on his lap, and he's got a package of cold meat on the back of his head from when she clocked him. That resonated with me as a memory I won't forget, even if I
Wait,
have
who was that?
Alzheimer's.
Who was that happened to?
That was my mother and my stepfather, the
Oh
last father of her
my!
child that she dealt with for 23 years. That was the
That she
longest.
clocked
That
him
was the
with some
first.
meat.
No, she clocked him with something else harder, and the meat was on the back of his head to
Oh,
soothe the
just
swelling.
okay.
But you see how that was documented, and that resonated with me as, oh, and the first relationship I ever had that had some DV with it, I thought that it was okay. And that's why you can't stay in a victimhood area that or era. And I didn't have to internalize it the way I did, but I did, and it made me think like, oh, okay, so you know he got mad and he wanted to strike me. I understand, but it's like, wait a minute, if I can control myself, why can't you control yourself? Because there's been men that I've had relationships with, and I want to cold cock you with something as small as a spoon or as big as a Bible. It doesn't matter. But that doesn't mean that was the right emotional response for a lady. So some things you have to unlearn. If you want to be a lady, a decent lady to a decent man, and do decent things and have a decent structure of character and qualities and efficiency, you cannot just always go with your first level emotion. I saw with my stepfather and my mother, they went through their first raw emotion, and it was because they were unequally yoked, but they still bonded themselves together. They made themselves victims. My stepfather had a woman that didn't choose him and went forward with drugs and alcohol, and then my stepmother had my father reject her, and so then they got together, and then they had a bond of a lack of discernment, even though they were nice people, but they still had a bond of rejection. So they were like, he was like, I'm not gonna leave you if you don't leave me, and she's like, I'm not gonna leave you if you don't leave me. But that still didn't make a quality pair, and so they went forward raising me, and then his daughter, who was also 2 weeks older than me but the exact same age, and then they went on to have my brother, who was their son, and they stayed together for 23 years with that. And the only thing that broke that was my mother going to God and saying that you needed to leave. But I think that was because it wasn't because she was really ready for him to leave. It was the fact that she gave him an ultimatum, like she gave my father an ultimatum, whether you marry me or go, and he wasn't willing to do that. And so she told him to leave, and he left. They still talk to this day and everything like that. But it's just like, if you have a power of victimhood, it will affect your personal decisions as a man, and it will affect your personal decisions as a woman. And it's not just with relationships, it's with friends and children and jobs and bosses. That victimhood era will affect all aspects of your life. I land.
All right, CC, what you got for me?
Which one we on? Number two or number three? I'm sorry.
First yellow, the first yellow.
Oh yeah, I was just reading that. I was I was telling myself. I said I think I try to I whip that in with the first response. What could be the reason this era is so emotional today? Kind of what I was saying before. I think the parenting, the lack of accountability, and not being able to well, not being taught how to control their emotions. I mean, in the way that the reason why I say that is because I hear a lot of like whatever they this era whatever they feel comes out their mouth. If they feel angry, they don't try to like check themselves, not do it, talk themselves. They just say it out loud. I
You
even
mean
hear
there's a
some
lack
of
of
them.
filter?
Yes, yes, sir. A lack of filter. Whatever, anything that comes to their mind, they just say it. And sometimes they have like this. What is it called? My daughter called it something like when they'll be like, oh, like my husband, he sees it at his job as a young girl that works with him, and he said that she'd be like, oh, I don't feel too good. I just want to off myself today. Like they just say anything and everything, and they're just overly emotional about every. Oh, I got a hangnail. The world is ending. Like what? Oh my goodness, I cannot believe today I woke up. It's like everything is major. It's a big deal. Every little
Right.
single thing,
There's
and
there's no
it's
grit of there's no grit of character that'll get
right.
you to one day to the next and understand that this isn't the end all be all of the moment.
Right, exactly. And yeah, exactly. And I feel like the reason why is because of every like the parenting. I feel like maybe they don't have the parents that they need to have to show them how to control those emotions and how to compartmentalize, I want to say, those emotions. Like this emotion is okay. Because then it's like they don't want to cry or it's going to make me feel like this or I don't want to see weak or like I hear it all the time when I listen to different panels. It's like, oh, they don't it's all over the place. Let me say that. And
Parents' lack
I
of
say
communication, maybe.
I
say it
agree
again.
with that.
I said parents, a lack of communication with their children.
Right.
Yeah,
That yes,
absolutely.
and showing them yes, exactly. But I feel like the reason why I say millennials these days, I guess, and then a little bit older than me, the reason why is because they don't know how to parent, and Gmon wasn't really around for a lot of people, so all they know is just let the kids find it out and do what they want to do. I'm happy enough that I had my grandmas and my godmom around to get me in
Amen.
check so I can have my kids in check and to tell me when I'm like they're like don't do that, don't you do that, don't be sitting there pacifying and allow them. Now you check that right when they get you, check it right then.
Right.
Like,
Right.
and
You got a
they don't.
problem
They
at
be like,
10:05 and 10:06, you address it. Don't let
right.
somebody
They
get some
well,
leeway to you to make you think it's
we
okay to
just
treat
have
you
to
like that.
respect. They say, well, we just have to respect right now that Tim is just having a little emotional breakdown right now. We just really need to just allow him to express himself. Okay, he got like 2 minutes to get together because in
You
my
gotta knock that
household,
shit
you
down.
Right.
you about to
Exactly.
no. All
But
right,
see, that
you
goes
done
back to the old
crying.
school
Get over
parenting.
it.
You weren't allowed to express yourself. It doesn't matter whether you were right or wrong. You were a child and you were just automatically written off as somebody that didn't know what they were talking about.
Absolutely.
But then they wonder about, well, where did I go wrong? My thing is because I said so creates yes men and yes women. Because that means all you're dealing with, my mother grabbed me at the collar at 14 and she said, "I'm the baddest bitch you'll ever meet and don't you ever forget it." And I'm like, I already knew that. Why would you need to overachieve and threaten me?
Just
And
want to make
so,
sure you knew.
Can
right,
I
I'm like, it created a trigger in me that anybody that was more authoritative or powerful than me or popular than me, that I needed to possibly dance to their tune when I was younger in my naive nature. But as I grew up, I'm like, you know what? I've realized every superior is not just superior. And it doesn't, and just because you have a title of priest, mother, boss, spouse, roommate, doesn't mean that you're the one to govern me or tell me that, what I'm saying or what I'm feeling is, inadequate.
I agree
And
with that.
so,
I think sometimes they try to put you down because they don't feel good about themselves.
I want to
Right,
add on to
absolutely.
that real quick because I feel like, and this is, I was going to say this earlier. But that's why I don't think the word victim's a bad thing, because I feel like a lot of our parents, definitely in the black community, they're victims of abuse and narcissism and a whole bunch of other traumatic things, and they
Completely.
don't realize that they're victims, and so they perpetuate that
Completely.
into their children.
Right.
And look, it's like, and I don't want to get personal either, but like I use my mother because I just strongly dislike her, and I tell her business because she tells my business to the street, so I tell her business to the street.
That's
She
fine.
is
You have the
very
right to feel how you feel. These are your personal experiences with her. And
she
that's
is
what I'm
very
saying about,
narcissistic.
victimhood. Don't assume just because somebody's talking personally about their parent that, they're wrong.
Exactly. Like my mother, for example, she's very narcissistic, and like she's
Right.
lost her connection with me, but she doesn't realize she, in her mind, she thinks that she's right for losing that connection. And my
Uh-huh.
father, he
Right.
saw these things happening, but he was very complicit because the
Right.
broken people meet other broken people, and they have broken families. And so my father, he needs someone to tell him what to do. He needs a mother in his life at all times, and my mother needs someone to tell what to do. So they're perfect match for each other, but that's not a good match.
Right.
And so this the
Exactly.
point
That's
is
exactly what
like
happened in my household. Speak your
exactly.
truth, brother.
So like the point is that victim being a victim isn't a bad thing, but you shouldn't stay a victim. You should learn to become greater
What?
and suppress above those things. And a lot of black people, definitely our parents, they didn't do that, and that's
And
the
I
point.
gotta tell you, I know this sounds horrible. A lot of white people think they're victims when they're not. They don't get what they want. It's sad.
Hey Kev, how you doing, brother? Long time no
What
see.
up, Gio? You been all right?
Hey man, blessed beyond measure. You know, all glory to God. But
Just came out the woodworks, man. What the heck? We been at?
I mean, to be real with you, man, I mainly joined TikTok because I was an unemployed veteran, but I just actually finished training to 12 weeks at Spectrum. So definitely big changes in my life. I'm out here robbing people for cable and internet services. You already know how it goes.
Spectrum is the worst.
You give me a call and I will reduce your bill 100%. Uh, but I have been listening, so I would like to keep the combo going. If I can make a statement on what was said already. Um, I think it was not like. Is that your name? Not like. You said that there's nothing wrong with being a victim. And of course, with the context given, I disagree. I feel like a victimized identity allows for lack of accountability and lack of
No,
being
I'm gonna
the
say
great.
what he said though. No, he ain't say
Yeah.
that. No, he was saying there's nothing wrong with being a victim, which is true, right?
Oh,
He just said
being a
don't.
victim. Okay.
Yeah, he just said don't stay with basically the mentality. That's all he said.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you would agree
Because
with
I was
whatever, like,
coming off with what he was
yeah.
saying, so I was like, what the heck? But then he kind of cleared it up though, so I get it
Okay.
though. Yeah.
I mean, I think it's real common, especially in this generation where we you know, realize that we're not where we are in life, and then it's very easy to look at our parents or, for me, it was more so I blame my siblings, my older brothers, because I always hung out with them. Therefore, I emulated their behavior. Wasn't always the best choice, but at the same time, as I got older, I realized that I always had a choice. I always had the ability to opt out of any activity because I was not being forced to do anything. I, just cling to certain things that I felt were right at that time, right? But I definitely like regained clarity once I owned all my choices, decisions, and outcomes. I mean, life isn't easy, it's not supposed to be, but I feel like with impeccability in our word and actions, a lot can be accomplished. 100%. And always, first and always, all glory to God.
Hey man, there you go. There you go. Who ain't, baby, you ain't go. Go ahead, babe.
I haven't went. What question is the one where it says have it gotten better or worse?
No, the what could be the reason?
Oh, I believe I went. That's when I got all giddy and then I had to hop off.
I thought we were doing the
Well, I
victim.
I ain't even answer the question. My fault, bro. I just went on a whole diatribe for no reason.
Oh,
But it was intelligent, and we appreciate that.
Oh yeah,
okay.
but I
At least
feel
I
like
do.
it's kind of what I said. I mean, if this era is emotional, it's because we're sold a dream, literally sold with, but they don't provide a receipt, right? Like we're
Come
sold
on
this
now.
utopia
Come on.
of like, have a house, have a car, have all these nice things in life, and that's what life is. But I feel like the less I've had, the happier I've been.
I'm not saying be a minimalist, but I'm saying appreciate what you have that money can't provide. And that's true richness. I feel like Bob Marley said it best. Money is not a form of riches unless you choose it to be. You feel me? What it can do is great,
Totally
but
agree.
you know, it's not always about money. It's about
You know,
connection.
you know what? It brings me back to the mind of Fight Club. He was, Brad Pitt's character was in the basement with other characters, and they were like, "Hey, you know what? We had a life that was laid out for us by our parents and by the people that governed us, and we were all told we could do anything and be anything. We could be lawyers or doctors or teachers and astronauts, and we're just regular people living in a life. And you know what? We're not going to have those great amount of dreams accomplished for us, and we're slowly realizing it, and we're feeling it, and we're very, very pissed off."
Mm.
But
Well, if I
I
can
wouldn't say
clarify,
we're
I don't know if you
emotional
mean.
about it.
Mhm.
Like, would you say we're emotional? I think that a different generation is emotional. It kind of sounds
Well,
like our generation is kind of like, man, we were sold this dream and it's not true. We may be upset, but I feel like we have a move on spirit
Right,
for the most part. I think,
right.
yeah.
I mean, I can speak for like the
So
36
I'm
year
trying to
olds
see
and
how to,
above.
but because I was about to say, 'cause I do want to start an open panel on that though. But what exactly you say, Ben, that you was you said what was the reason why? Because I
Oh,
heard
my
the
reason?
average, yeah, the average I heard so far the reason why is because they couldn't express it back then. So
I
did you agree with that?
no, I said that no, I said because we haven't built up our mental strength. We don't have it to fight against. Like everything is given to it. It's fairly easy, and we haven't been able to build up our resilience. So if you look at the people back then, they had more to
Buck
fight
against.
against. Yeah, they were
Right.
up. Yeah, yeah, they were up
Not sitting at a lunch table,
far more,
not
right?
getting on the bus at a certain place. That was different than, hey, you know what? I didn't get the
Having to
job I
walk
wanted.
miles.
Right. There were different levels of structure and struggle.
Yeah, so when you think about your mental strength, you still like that resilience is very important, right? So you do have to go through some stuff to build up your resiliency, so you can have that mental strength. Now, I will say, I'm not sure they had the tools, the proper tools. The only tool that they had is, toughen up and go. And
Right.
I
Because
think
there
maybe
was no other choice. It was a legacy thing. We either stood together and did this shit for ourselves, within ourselves, for ourselves, about ourselves, by ourselves, with some levels of support from other races along the way, or we did not.
yeah. So do you understand my reasoning?
Yeah, I got you. Okay, I'll try.
Absolutely, ma'am.
Okay. Thanks.
uh I know, with with the host being so kind and generous to everybody on the panel, what did you feel about the first accountability room question? What could be the reason this era is so emotional today? Did you have thoughts? I want to hear your thoughts too, because hosts, always host so hard, and they never get their chance to speak.
Oh no, when I speak for sure. Let me get. I'm gonna actually get Huntress in. I want to get her to go. Then I'll say mine. Then so you got to go. All right, all right. Go ahead, Huntress.
What it do, baby? What question are we on?
We on the first one. What could be the reasons?
What it do, boo?
So, what could be the reason why this era is so emotional today? Hey, sir, I am on the phone. Um, I think
Love it.
I think one of the biggest problems, and I'm seeing it with adults now, is that we're catering to our children a little bit too much.
Mm.
Too much.
Say that shit.
Um, son, you got 2.8 seconds to get out of my space before you get a black eye.
Bottom line.
Thank you. That's what I mean. Just like a moment like that, like setting boundaries. I think some of us parents have taken gentle parenting a little bit too far and have compromised some things. For example, I have a kid that I hang out with, that hangs out with my daughter. We have a great time together, but her mom keeps harping on her anxiety. And I had to tell her mom, I was like, she's not going to get out of that until you sit up there and you make her work that muscle. And I feel like we
Come
as
on
parents
now.
are trying to make life so much easier for our kids because we don't want to see them to struggle, but misunderstanding that the struggle is where they get their strength from.
Come on now.
So I just feel like that's one of the biggest issues that we have in parenting today. There's so many books out here telling you, oh, your kid has rights, your kids have this, your kids have this. Absolutely, they do have rights. However, I'm not going to be able to protect my kid when they go to a gas station and somebody cats calls them and now they're crashing out because they don't know how to handle the situation because I haven't been a parent and teaching them to evaluate their feelings and get through that.
Girl, come on now.
So I think that's one of the biggest problems that we have with emotional kids today. They've never had to exercise outside of that coddled behavior that we've implemented over the past couple years. Because I feel like right at 95 was when parents started being friends and not parents.
Mm.
Yeah, I like how she explained that. See, she said same thing I said. But I need to work on my speech. They have an app. Do you get do you get nervous when you speak?
I'm
I be
still picturing.
everywhere.
Baby, you don't need to work on your app. You don't need to work on nothing. That's that
Look,
young kid shit. Say what you
I'm
feel like saying.
I'm still picturing that
That's
lady crashing out over a cat call.
no, I mean, what I mean, of all things that we could
Yo,
crash out for, the last thing, if you feel like you're a parent,
I can
that's the
picture it
last thing
though.
that's the last thing anybody can really fuck with you on is crashing out about your kids. That really is the only thing when
You're
you
not
are a
entitled to my
full
body.
right, exactly. Exactly. Baby.
Oh,
Say
you know how
that
many
shit.
cat
What the heck
calls
you
I
like
done
me
had?
for?
Oh, I'm
That's the
telling you,
last thing anybody can make anybody on
Booty
a
not that
real
fat.
right
yo.
and
It just
on
reminds
a
me of your
real
post, Kev. Like, oh my gosh, the
on
amount
a
of
real
crash
plane.
out
That's the only
women.
thing anybody's gonna make anybody crash out about is they children. But the thing is, if you have not prepared your children, like my son, he's a big guy. He's a heavy set guy and he wears glasses. And so what I did with him is when he had any conflicts at school, we went through trials and I'd take him home and then I'd ask him what happened. And then he'd tell me what happened. I said, "Now, how could you have handled that better? And then how could you have handled that worse?" And I said, "Okay, so who's your counterpoint?" He said, "It's a guy named Francis." Okay. I said, "So call him Fran." And remind him that Fran is a girl's name. That's not going to get you in trouble because you're not cussing, you're not speaking outside of term, but you are addressing the fact that he wants to make fun of you for wearing glasses and being a big guy, chubby guy, but you can still defend yourself. Oh, I'm like, okay, Fran, why you talking stuff to me, Fran? At least I have a man's name, you know and the teacher ain't gonna get you in trouble. And if you get in trouble, I totally understand that. But the thing is, you stood up for yourself. That's the thing. We can't leave our kids in a state of complacency where it's a life that we never lived, and then it's a life they live now, and expect everything to be coincidental or lining up in respectivity. It's about us training them to be ready for any attacks that could come across them.
Right. So, Charlotte, I want to address what you said earlier when you were like, I need an app to help me speak. Ma'am, Kev can tell you. A year ago, me and Kev have been at this for a minute now. I was you on this live a year ago saying, oh, I can't put my words in proper terms and stuff like that. The more you practice it, the more you practice what you're thinking and speaking, the better you get at it.
Yeah,
It's just, and
I'm
reading
a
books
talker,
helps
so
out too.
right. That's what I was gonna say. I'm a talker, and my mind, like my lips, don't follow where my mind is at. So it's like I'm jumping around. But my family, they sometimes they be like, "Slow down, now. Wait a minute. What happened to the cat? What happened to the
No,
dog?"
you know what? I get that too, and I get that a lot too because my
Thank you, Miss
family and
Huntress.
my friends don't listen to me. They say they want to capitalize on the fact that they think I'm intelligent, they think I'm wonderful, they think I'm a powerful human being, but they don't listen to me. So when you get a chance or an opportunity or a platform to speak, you speak 3,000 miles an hour
Hey, Imperial,
instead of
hold up
trying
real
to get
quick.
the shit out.
Imperial,
I
hold up,
do it
man.
still too.
Yeah, hold on real quick. Yeah, I'm trying to get through this tonight. We ain't gonna be able to get through this thing. I just got to get to these last two, then we can go back to open panel though. But if you actually you can start with the this the deep one I was waiting on.
Hold on. We got a new person that came up. I had to mute them when they first came up. Janique, I think is her name.
Welcome back, Janique.
Oh, never mind. She been here before. Never mind.
Hey, Rachel. Hey, Kev.
Hi.
I didn't even know I was coming up, so I hope y'all didn't hear too much. But
Oh, we
yeah,
heard it all.
oh y'all did.
Oh, you ain't
You
want to
better
come up?
stop whooping on
Maybe
children.
live your life.
No,
Just
you're
tell us what
good.
you
No, I
did
don't
right
mind
now.
being up, but I didn't
It's
know I
all
was
good.
coming up. That was because I was fussing at my daughter.
Oh,
I
But
heard
yeah,
that. That could be an example right there. Go ahead, baby.
no, we didn't hear anything.
yes. But the other lady who was speaking was on point. I think that's what has a lot to do with it. And with me, I know I'm like I don't want the things that I felt I didn't like when my mom did it. I try not to do it. And now with having a young adult, 18, I definitely understand why those things was put in place. Boundaries and discipline was put in place. But I think a lot comes from that, along with along with the government. They come in and say you can't hit the kids and things like that when there's nothing wrong with them getting a whooping here and there, getting touched up and stuff like that.
Agree.
So,
Agree.
yeah, there's nothing. I mean, I'm all right, and my mother surely touched us up. So I
Right.
think
But
it's
that's because you say you're okay with the way you were parented. A lot of us said we were not okay with the way our parent parented. But
mm-hmm.
you're saying you honor the way you were parented and that you're
Now.
doing it in your own safe space, in your safe environment, in your safe way.
Material.
Yeah, I say I can honor it now and respect it, but then I didn't. So my daughter barely got touched up. But now I can understand why our parents touch us up. But I don't believe in all the extension cords and stuff like how some parents did what back then. Like I don't believe in that. I wouldn't have wanted that for anyone. But getting touched up with a little bit of discipline, definitely. And then just realizing like boys are different at a point, the way you discipline teenagers and stuff, boys and girls are different because you can break spirits and things like that. But yeah, I just agree a lot with what the other lady was saying as well.
All right. Kate, what you got for me?
Yeah, so I'm a bit late to the conversation, so I'm not sure what the talk was regarding discipline and stuff, and I'm just gonna leave myself out of that, and trust the people who have been talking have extremely valid and well heard points. I was gonna go off the actual prompt, and my initial opinion about that is when we talk about victimhood, I think a lot of what we forget or maybe like to view as a sideline when it's actually like more the main course is social media. And I say that because we talk about, everyone is so emotional, everyone has so many feelings, but how far back can we go before we see examples of rebellious teenagers, of people who left home at too early of an age, of people who scandalized their families because they made a choice that was inherently against the grain? We see it all the time. The main difference is now is, I mean, ever since like the late 80s, early 90s, we've been seeing it in music and then in pop culture and then in film. And now we see it on this level of TikTok and Instagram and all these things. It's maybe become more normalized, but the actual behavior itself remains relatively the same. I think the reason it has such a strong message now is when we're talking about certain victimhood behaviors, right? Like, I'm not even saying this like that these people are, like acting like victims, but when we talk about things that were typically swept under the rug, things like mental health, things like a queer status, things like feminism, those things were so often just swept under as, oh, she's 17 and she's off with the feminists. And now we see it on this wide, world announcing spectrum. Doesn't mean that people are more like empowered or victimized or however you want to look at it. Does it mean they're more or less than they used to be? I don't know if that's the case. I just think that it means that we hear about it more than we ever used to. And that obviously creates more of a larger disconnect with people because there is no normativity of culture anymore. There's only this echo chamber of back and forth. I don't like this and I don't like that. And yeah, that that was kind of my gist about the prompt. Sorry.
Oh, okay. The way you just stopped, I thought it cut you off or something. I didn't know.
I was good. That's all I wanted to say. So my question is there more now than there used to be?
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, I
There's
would
more
still
than there
say it.
used to
Like on top of the fact that there wasn't a language for it, and now we're being made aware of some of the you know the emotional trauma that people experience or whatever. On top of that, there is a you know newer generation or that is being created that is emotionally fragile because of the culture and society that we live in today.
I actually don't disagree with that point at all. I do think that the way I talked about it, I talked about how it's always existed, but in subculture. I do think the more normalized it becomes, you do see people who might not have the resilience to like really stand up for what they believe in without the protection, of like secure opinions. And that goes both ways, whether you're a queer person or whether you're a red hat wearer. You need people around you who protect you essentially. I think there is a certain level of fragility that comes in the security of those around you sharing an opinion. And at least with subculture, 20, 30 years ago, it was like if you believed it, you believed it. You were going to fight for it. There is a certain level of resilience that has been lost a bit in translation. I think the themes are the same, but maybe the core personality has changed.
Agreed. I think we all agree on this
There
victimhood.
we go. Okay. So yes,
I
you
think
you
we're
can
sick
be
and
a
tired of it.
victim or you
Yeah.
can be just someone who has a different opinion. But if you have a different opinion, stand up for it and fight for it. Who gives a flying F what people say about it?
But you're talking about a victim.
That's what I'm saying. I'm saying that, like, I think that, people have always complained, but when you can complain and take the heat back, that's when you truly believe in something. And that's what I'm saying has always existed. But yes, I agree that when you complain and you expect that your beliefs only have to be catered towards, regardless of everyone else's beliefs, that's when it becomes a level of victimhood. And I think that we're more exposed to it now than ever, but I do agree that people have become more sensitive about it as well.
Yep. Huntress, you said you don't know.
Bruh.
Ah!
uh, yeah. Bruh.
I mean,
Sorry, I know,
basically
I ramble.
reiterated.
I
She
ramble, but
reiterated.
like these are the fights I have in the mirror with myself. So like
Yeah,
this
no,
is what I do.
I understood in a sense. I had something I wanted to say, but then it went away.
Oh, I'm
But
so
yeah,
sorry. No, please
no,
go
no, you're
on.
fine. No, you're fine. It's me. My mind jumps. So yeah. Oh,
That's
I'm
exactly what happened to me.
multitasking. I'm like
I was like,
cooking,
oh,
texting.
she
Hey,
made this point. She made this point.
okay. So, do you guys think that also the constant need for validation? Because, like, do you think the previous generations did they require that?
Oh, they absolutely did. And sorry, I just jumped in there. Does anyone else want to say
No,
anything
no. I
first?
think it's open panel, right?
Okay, so I was
Yeah.
gonna say I do think they did, but it was different. Like, I mean, okay, I'll be fully honest. I was born in the '90s, so when I talk about '80s representation, it all comes from film and media. I have no stakes in what the '80s were actually like. But speaking on that, like the
Hold on. Before you
difference.
keep
So
moving,
yeah,
before
Yes,
you keep
because
yes,
I
moving,
need
go.
you to say
90s win.
in what way.
90s win.
Uh, you guys are gonna make fun of me.
Probably.
I was born in '99.
Oh my
That's my
god.
point. My point's been made.
Okay, so
Okay,
Oh
but
my
your
goodness,
point is
well,
that I'm almost 26 years old, so I am
okay,
still a grown ass adult, you know?
Kate, Kate, you're
Okay, so
just
then
wait a
why did
minute.
you disagree?
Kate, you're just 1 year older than me.
Okay,
So
there we go.
so Kate, what was your reason for you said that they did
Oh
require
yeah, so it goes back to the social media conversation. I think that what we see in a healthy way is there's a lot less like bullying, or at least the bullying is a lot more nuanced nowadays than it
now
used to
Kate,
be.
hold on. I just want to stop
No,
you before you
let me
I just
land and
want to stop you
you'll get
before you
why. You'll get
went
why.
too far.
Because
Okay, go ahead, go ahead.
the original opinion was that you had to be accepted by your peers. Who was it you lived in town with? Who was it you went to school with? Who was it that you knew? And then you bring in an entire social media generation and here's why I say it matters. I was born in the 90s. I didn't have Instagram until I was like a sophomore in high school. Okay. I still did grow up with social media. Do not get me wrong, but I grew up with it at much less of a severity than kids nowadays do. And now it's like this opinion of like, are you a jock? Are you a nerd? Instead of being between 100 people, it's between millions of people you see online every day. Of course, people are craving validation and to be heard because we always crave to be accepted, but now you're demanding acceptance from the entire world around you, and you're obsessed with this, like these minor endorphin rushes you get from the likes and comments on your post. And of course that affects people in a negative way because we're not meant to cater to millions of people. We're meant to cater to a community, and we've lost the aspect of community.
right, but that just proves the point that back then they didn't require it as much because of
Well,
social media.
people still wanted
Because
validation, just
because
different.
yeah, they didn't care. Like even if they, it's on such a greater scale that it's impacting their lives like
Exactly.
more.
Yes, I agree
Yeah,
with that
but
too.
yeah, but I don't think people actually had stuff they had to deal with. They had to
Yeah, I
figure out.
mean, there is a downside of the influencer, but I think that for kids, is that these fears we had, do my braces make me look ugly? Are my freckles too much? Is my hair too curly? Is whatever going on, Am I too fat? Have my boobs come in too late? All these fears that we have are like so magnified for the younger generation. And it makes me more worried for them.
Right. What's up? All
But
of my children.
it's
Go ahead.
still it still
Hey,
comes from it still comes from the way you're being raised and how you're being poured into, because at the end of the day, even as a youngster, it's a choice, and it's a certain amount of self love that needs to start existing. So when you are hearing things that is not in favor of you, or you're not getting validated, it doesn't break you. And I
Well,
think,
and Janique, is that how you say her name, Janique?
yes.
Okay, Janique, I agree with that. But like, I don't know. I mean, this might actually go directly into your point. I didn't have like the most heartwarming friend group or family growing up. And I did seek out things in ways I shouldn't have. It took me a long time to come to love the person I was. And by long time, again, remember I'm pretty young. I mean, it wasn't until probably my early 20s where I kind of finally just sat down and said, you know what, I am who I am and I'm doing well with my life, and that's all that matters. And there are children, teenagers who do get that love poured into them. But I think a lot of kids do go through that, like, I feel misunderstood phase of their life. And that phase is important to discuss because in that misunderstanding, what are you actually finding out about yourself? Are you pushing yourself further away, or are you pushing yourself closer to who you're meant to be? And I think that social media is having that opposite effect that we wanted to have. I found myself eventually, but it took a lot of trial and error and a lot of resilience and a lot of tough, I don't give an F behavior on my part to get to that point. But not every child has that. They grow up in a influencing age where they have to put on this mask over and over and over again until they don't recognize themselves anymore.
Oh, let's get all of my children in. That's
I
unfortunate.
agree with both of them though. I mean, I'm 30 and I'm from the 90s, like early 2000s and 90s. When you think about it, all we really had internet wise was MySpace and a bunch of beepers and, and big ass phones. So really, like I just feel like a lot of the kids today get too much of the internet mess, and the internet. I mean, when you really look at it, it wasn't created in parents' favor. It's
No,
actually
it was not.
kind
Exactly.
of created to poison the well. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, I agree with Kat and I agree with Janique. I mean, like that's why I don't let my son really get on the internet like that. Doing he's 7. I had to break up a fight between two 11-year-old girls who are already dating boys yesterday at the
Wow.
daycare I work at. So
Right.
that should tell you something.
No
Here.
parents for you.
Oh shoot.
What happened? Dang, I keep missing stuff.
Fighting over boys at daycare?
At 11.
Hi. What? At
At
11?
11, on my
Oh,
mama, she
11.
pulled the
Oh,
she
at
pulled the
11.
other
Oh,
boy
okay.
I
Oh,
had a
what's that?
boyfriend
out
in
the chair.
kindergarten.
It
And
was
I didn't
so
have different
bad,
though. It's
like
different when you're 11 and you're on TikTok
You got a
and
boy.
you're
bro,
applying
like it was so
adult
bad. Her dad
ideas
came
to an
in,
adolescent relationship. And
bro.
these
Her
kids are
dad came
applying
in and
adult
pulled the
ideas to
'90s card,
relationships when they're
bro.
not
Her
ready for
dad
it.
Hold on,
came in
Kate.
there, pulled
I'm just
her.
trying to hear the story. What'd you say? Oh,
Her dad came in there and pulled her into the bathroom, right? And started talking to her, but really you ain't hear nothing. All you heard was silence. When she came out, she was boohoo crying and walking past everybody, giving an attitude. And I stopped him on his way out. I said, "Sir, can I say something to her in a polite way?" He said, "Sure, what you want to say?" I said, "I just want to tell her she a beautiful black queen. She don't need to be portraying that image." Then he stopped me mid-sentence, and I really appreciated it. And he told me, he said, "She can be a beautiful black queen, but she need discipline, because you can be a beautiful black queen with a whole bunch of degrees and a whole bunch going for yourself, and ain't
Mm,
nobody gonna want to work with you acting like that, dude." And honestly, I was like, wow. I looked at him. I said, "Wow, he's a great dad."
the
And
father's touch.
the first thing that hit me in my head was, man, where her mama at? And then I started thinking in my head, I said, he must be a single dad that ran into the wrong type of woman. I really appreciate men, like specifically black men like him, like on some real messed up, like. And his daughter today, she was acting like she had some sense, and I really appreciate that, because she need that.
That's amazing. I mean, and just going off myself, obviously I'm white. I mean, you guys can see from my profile picture.
Wait, you white?
Yeah, shocker, right? Who would have thought?
What
Who would
the
have
this
guessed?
whole time,
Oh
It's
my
heck?
insane.
goodness.
Wow.
I
You
feel
gotta go.
bamboozled.
No
Gotta
I
go.
way.
feel
I don't
You
Gotta
believe
baited
go.
me,
it.
Kate.
Okay, anyway, my mom was a single mom. I had my and I don't want to, talk down to him too much. I mean, he's a man who just it's mostly self-inflicted, but he struggles and he did what he thought his version of being a father was, and it wasn't really a dad. So I was raised by my mother. And like, just, regardless of, ethnicity here, like, woman being raised by woman, that has completely shaped the person I am. And it's similar to like how a dad would raise a daughter. When you have one parent who tells you that you need to like stand up on your own two legs. That was my mother. That was my mother working 3 jobs to keep a roof over our head. And she looked at me and she goes, "No one is ever going to tell you to be small. And no one is ever going to tell you to talk less or be less than you are, because you are who you are." And that is exactly the key characteristics of who I am today. I'm not afraid to have an opinion. I'm not afraid to be heard, because I had a mother who stood her ground and cared for me in that way.
Didn't notice.
And my brother is like, I mean, in my words, like, he is one of the best men I've ever known. I'm so proud of the young man that he's become, because he has this amazing girlfriend right now and he treats her very well because he was raised around women. And that's the kind of family that like you love to see, and it can happen too with a good father. But a lot of times it does happen with a single mother who teaches her family that this is what we are and this is what we mean.
Yeah, that's true. I'm just so glad that I got a chance to see in person, you know, a
Yeah, I find that
dad.
scary if you said he got raised around all women.
You know, color don't matter to me, but the reason why I specified a black single dad that did that there is because there's this big old stigma stereotype
Oh no, and I
that
totally understood
you
why
know
you
what
said
I'm
that.
saying. But
Yeah.
really, this dude, like the way he, and I'm married, so I wasn't looking at him in like no, ooh, I want him type of way. I was looking at him like, wow, that dude really something. You know what I mean? Like he came into the classroom, the way he carried himself, his pants wasn't below his ankles. Like really, you could tell this dude probably on his own business for real. But I really appreciate the fact that he got that girl in check. It got
Right.
so bad that I couldn't even break up the fight between the two of them because on some real stuff, I'm a petite woman. They thicker than me and they 11. So I said, hey, Mr. Marcus, hey, bro, you know, the dude I'm working with before her father came in, I said, hey, bro, hey, bro, help me out here. So when he came over there, he grabbed her by the arm and he started talking to her like, no, you're not going to do this. Like, we're not going to do this. And then
Yeah.
she started trying to, oh, you're going to break my arm. So I took my phone out and started recording. I said, okay, I'm recording for his safety. You not trying to break her arm. You trying to talk some sense into it. And that's when her dad came in and say the whole day, like, for real, like, I really was about to cry. And honestly, I quit that job. I quit. I'd rather go work at La Petite or Kindercare somewhere where these kids ain't out here acting like Bad Girls Club on some real stuff. At a place where I ain't gotta ask when my lunch break gonna be because y'all got bad communication. I don't want that in my life. But I really appreciate what he did.
Yeah,
Yeah, and
that's the reason why I
and
could never
seeing
really.
men stand up like that is like it is so rare. Like especially I know that I've heard like the jokes and stuff around the black community. I'm not familiar with it as much myself. But even in my community, right? It's always a single mom's fault. It's never on the dad who walked out. And when a dad does step up, it's like, "Oh my gosh, you actually got it. Like you actually buckled down and did what you were supposed to do." And it seems like it's the bare minimum, but seeing a father actually do that is like oh my gosh, it means so much to see a father be a father, you know?
Interesting. All right. So real quick,
And
y'all.
it should never be
Hold
that
on, real
way.
quick. Hold on, real quick. We gotta get to the next one because we ain't gonna never make it. We could start with let's start with y'all two since y'all the main two that been talking. Let's go with all of my children. Have it gotten worse or better? Uh, have it gotten better or worse? People started straying away from religion.
Oh man. You know what? I'm gonna say it got worse. I'm gonna say it got
Mm.
worse. And the reason and it's a very biased perspective I have, meaning that it's not a fact. But the reason I'm gonna say it got worse, is because when you go look up the definition of the word religion, it's something you do habitually every day, right? So if someone smokes, MJ every day, that's their religion. If I
Oh.
drink every day, that's my religion. If I focus on money every day and nothing else, that's my religion.
Mm.
So I'm gonna say that it got worse because wholeheartedly, a lot of us, even unknowingly, focus on the internet a lot. Like right now, we focusing on the internet to push a positive message out there, and ain't nothing wrong with what we doing. But then you got people younger than us and this youth coming up that focus on the internet for the wrong reason. So I'm gonna say religion has progressively gotten worse because it's turned into something that it really don't need to be to.
Hey, I need you to say one thing for me just to get it out my system. Say it's 7 p.m. Friday, 95 degrees.
It's 7 p.m. Friday.
You got that Glorilla accent, I noticed. But
Yeah.
all right, let's get Kate in. What you got for me? Have it got
Yeah,
him?
so I would actually go exact opposite, except for the end of her statement. So, I was someone who was raised in religion, small town farming community,
I forget.
all that stuff, like deep in the Midwest, all farmers, stuff like that. I was raised around religion, and I'll say right now, I'm a queer woman. I am in a relationship with a man, but I have had relationships, not just intimate relationships. I mean, like I've had relationships with women as well. Like it is a really deep part of me that like I just love people. And when I was first coming into that, like I think I had probably close to a psychotic episode because I was raised so heavily religious that like I started seeking out religions across the world, trying to piece things together, trying to make the way I felt be okay, trying to make it accepting, trying to make myself believe that I wasn't going to be damned for thinking this girl that was my best friend was also beautiful. And I agree with what Aloe, is that how you say it? Aloe said about community and stuff. I agree, community and servants is a huge part of what makes us better. But I disagree that driving people to a religion that gives you rules to get into heaven, that you need to be a certain person to get into heaven, and anything else that you are is somehow not good enough. I disagree with that. And I support that more people have left religion because it gives more people the right to not experience that fear and that shame around such a developmental part of their lives. I do agree with the end of what she said, though, that like we do all need connection, and we do all need support, and we need to make something of a community, because that is what matters most. I just don't think the community needs to be a book that was written 3,000 years ago by men who said that women were to be certain things, that we could never be something else.
Interesting. Yeah. All right. Cece, what you got?
Have it gotten worse? Have it gotten better or worse? People started staying away from religion house. So, um, yeah, I think it's gotten worse. I, s- I see a lot of, sorry, I'm trying not to bring that, but I see a lot of people um talk about all these different things. I don't know where, me personally, I don't know where I would be if God wasn't in my life. I don't understand, and Lord knows I always say, let me knock on wood, Lord, I don't want to understand. But I don't understand how people can not have, to me, believe in God. So when I think of religion, that's what I think of. Believing in God, Jesus Christ is my Lord Savior. Um, I I think that is like the in times when I was growing up, when I had my emotional struggle, if you're still talking about, of course, the whole prompt with the emotional and everything, when I was dealing with my ups and downs and being a teenager and stuff, I was so grateful that I knew to what I was supposed to do, pray, work on myself, do what I'm supposed to do, and be the best person that I should try to be the best person that I can be in God's eyes. If nobody else like me, yeah, true indeed. That's okay because I'm not for everyone. Everybody's gonna have an opinion, but as long as I know that I'm being true and I'm being honest, and I can put a smile on God's face at the end of the day, because I'm being truthful and honest about everything, and I'm being forefront about who I am. Um, I think that I'm okay. I was going off of what Miss Cat was saying a little bit, so let me just go back. Um, yeah, I think people, this is the reason why I feel like they're emotionally imbalanced, because of the fact that they are looking for love in the things of this world and not understanding how great God's love is in their life and how it can change their perspective. Oh, Lord. See, I know I can't speak. My husband is walking the door. Let me hear you. How they view life. So, I think that God is important. I think religion is important. Religion is important. I feel like, um, and with that, you will find a way to do what you're supposed to do in life. I lost my train of thought. Let me welcome my husband home. I'll mute myself. Sorry.
Can I
Nah,
rebuttal
y'all get
that
it.
really quick?
Nah, no. Everybody. Some people want to rebuttal you. I already know they did too.
Oh,
So
yep, I know. Okay, right, you're right. Thank you for checking me. I
give me a
got it.
couple seconds and then we gonna get it going. El
God
So,
is a woman. God
El,
is a woman. Repent.
El
God
So,
is a
El So, what you got
woman.
for me, El So?
Black Jesus is a Mexican and God is a woman.
Yo. So Negro is chilling, is trolling, yo.
Okay, so you don't.
He ain't
Hey,
trolling no
I
more.
ain't gonna lie. That was kind of funny how he went.
He ain't trolling no more. Go ahead.
Yeah, we need some holy water after this.
You got Huntress.
No, what killed me is that his name in Espanol is the Sun Negro. He named himself as So Negro, so the Sun Negro, and I was just like, bro.
What you got, Huntress?
So you're gonna have to excuse the noise in the background. My son is in the shower, so I can't do much about it.
Huntress.
Official.
Rob, and he gonna say hi to her. Oh, that's crazy work.
Oh, I'm sorry. What up, everybody? What's up, Rachel?
Religion
What up,
Huntress
Kev?
and just skipped everybody. That's
Kev,
crazy
I
Y'all just
work.
feel
mad because I'm the favorite.
Kev, I feel some type of
Crazy
way.
work.
Y'all just mad because I'm the
Dang.
I'm
favorite. Get over
I'm
it.
sorry.
So
Hold
just get
on,
out your
Robbie.
feelings.
Wait, Robbie, who you knew first?
Me?
Who did I know? It might have been Rachel and then Huntress and then Kev.
Oh,
I
how
think it.
dare you? The
Yeah, I'm the newest.
And
disrespect,
I'm the
Rob.
newbie. I'm the newbie. I'm the one that had to. I snuck in his live and found all my mods cheating. I was like, "What the heck? All my mods in here?" I said, "This dude got to be
right,
somebody special. He done got all my members up." So,
right. Yo, I sent you the prompt. I hope you
oh
liked the
yeah,
way
I
it was
got it. Yeah,
written.
because I forgot it was
Yeah.
worded that way. You sent it to me. I just forgot you worded it that way. So I
Uh
gotta
huh.
let me see how I fit it on there. Then that might be the one I do tomorrow too, though, because the other one I got is almost kind of talking about victim again. So I can't do two victims in a row. So I'm gonna talk about that one tomorrow. You got.
Right.
Because remember, I was saying the other topic was gonna be do people use status to cry versus status to uplift, and how can you tell the difference? So that's what we're gonna do on Saturday. But Punch, you did every? Did she go? Oh yeah, she was alright. All right, go ahead. Uh,
What
what you?
what did you just say I went and y'all just all cut me off in the middle of my
Oh, I was trying
statement?
to make sure that's you the one that got that
See,
blessings. That was you that
see
got the blessings in the middle of
this
it.
is why this 7 foot is going right up the rear. Okay? This is
Dang,
why we don't like each other right now. Just kidding.
dang. Go ahead, honey.
So I believe that it's gotten worse. And the reason why I say I believe it's gotten worse is because I grew up from the 90s to now. The more I've noticed that religion's been taken out of schools, been taken out of different aspects of life, it's not allowed in certain trajectories. I've seen the behaviors of human beings go down. And it's more than just social media that I'm seeing it on. I'm seeing it in the kids that are growing up today, the disrespect that I see towards parents, because you know that whole thing, honor thy mother and thy father, and your days will be longer on this earth. Yeah, I'm not seeing a lot of that. So I believe that with the escape of religion, and I'm not saying you have to follow the same religion I'm following. I'm saying that the moral compass has been turned and shifted to evil more so than it is to good. And that's all I got to say about that. I got to get in the shower.
Ooh, don't hurt him. She coming in strong.
Right. Can
Go.
I say one thing on behalf of religion though?
Right, you get it right after official Rob go, then we in it. Yeah,
Okay.
because we got about 20 minutes left. All right, so we gonna go to my baby first, and then we gonna get Rob in.
Oh, it's okay. We can let Rob. We don't have too much time. It's okay.
All right.
I'm gonna be supersonic fast. You know what I'm saying? Which one we on though?
Hey, since you saying supersonic, you do one, and then the first two, then the first three questions.
All right. Is this the victimhood era? Yeah, probably more than ever. People always got an excuse for why they can't be somewhere, why they can't be someone, and I don't know. And you know, and there's things that people deal with, like systematic oppression and racism, and I'll never deny that that's like real. But I could still be a millionaire. You know what I'm saying? I could still go get mines and make sure that my family's good. Is it going to be harder? Yeah. Are you going to have to work twice as hard to get half the credit? Yeah, but fuck it. Like when I start standing on stage and being the person I'm supposed to be, like I think the story is that much more glorious to tell, and I look forward to having a good story to tell. Having a story of why I'm held back by society. That's not a fun story for me personally. I don't want that to be my life. Um, but yeah, then the second one, what could be the reason this era is so emotional today? Motherfuckers ain't got no stoicism, man. I don't know. I know stoicism is a hard philosophy to sell to women specifically. I don't know if they'll ever get because I think they interpret it as not having any range of emotions, and you still have the full range of your emotions. It's just that you don't justify being a loose cannon. You know what I'm saying? Like you still know how to conduct yourself in a civil manner when you have a disagreement. You don't feel like, oh, I got to tear your head off because we disagree, or because you had said something so egregious, or because your views is this and your politics is that. And I wish that we could bring formal debating back, not the arguing shit where we come for each other's mama. Like I don't like arguments, but debates where it's like you time the shit and it's like let the better argument win. Like that's dope. You know what I'm saying? And where there's no high emotionality involved, where ad hominem attacks and you got to attack the person instead of their ideas. You know, like I just that's whack to me. You know what I mean? Because as long as you're attacking the person, you'll never get to their ideas. And I think you attack the person because you can't defend your own ideas, and that's why people do that shit. You know.
Host, please let me speak back, please.
Well, he told me I can speak after him, though.
You can go, but
And I agree
I've
with
got my
Robbie,
locked
though.
and
I'm
loaded.
only going off of what the host said, so I ain't
Oh,
trying to disrespect you, but he
was
told
there
me I
one more? What you said where it says have it gotten better? Was I supposed to do that too, or was that it?
Yeah, you was supposed to did that too.
Oh, I could
Oh, they
if I
ready
could
to
get
eat in this thing.
yeah,
You better hurry up. They
if
ready
I
to
could get
eat.
40 seconds, time me. I only need 40 seconds. I promise y'all. Hold on. Has it gotten
Baby
better or worse?
girl coming up.
What up, baby girl? Have it gotten better or worse? People started straying away from religions. How so? Yeah, as Huntress was saying, they taking God out of the schools. Like the didn't they used to have like the Ten Commandments and shit like up by the chalkboard and stuff. So when I was in high school, I had a friend who he got in trouble for saying God bless you. The teacher said that's disrespectful or potentially offensive because the person you're blessing, you don't know if they believe in God. Go to the principal's office. I said, what the hell? So like that's when I was in high school. So I can't imagine what it's like now. You know what I mean? So definitely gotten worse. And yeah, gotten into a postmodernist world where it's like your truth, my truth, his truth, your God, my God, and there's no like unifying principles that people could like fall under, because everyone has their idea of what's moral. So, but that's it, y'all. Y'all could.
Host, not to be the girl, but since Aloe dropped, can I just please just say something real quick? I promise it'll be
Go
like
ahead.
a minute and I'll land.
Go ahead.
Is that okay?
Go ahead.
First of all, I want to agree with Charlotte. I think faith is absolutely important. I wanted to go and say that earlier. I do have faith. I just don't have a Christian specific faith. I have faith in my own spirituality because I do agree that faith is important. I just did not find with my life that Christian faith supported me. That also goes into the conversation about finding your own faith. This you just talked about stoicism. Another good word for, faith outside of religion are nihilism, agnostic, other things. I just want to ask you for a second why you believe, and let me finish first, women aren't capable of believing in faith without guided morals, or why women aren't capable of believing in a self-dependent faith because they're just too emotional to handle it. And I mean, that's fine if you were with someone who did have that opinion. But I'd like to seriously ask you right now why you believe it is that all women are incapable of exploring their own spiritual journey without the guidance of a controlled religion. Because it sounds like you believe that we do not have ideas of faith and spirituality of our own. And that might not be how you meant it, but the way you described it was really, really close to that. And I want to ask you about that.
If women have ideas of their own, is that the question?
If they can be capable of discovering their own religion without the guidance of men, if we're not too emotional to figure it out.
Yeah,
Hey
I
y'all,
mean,
I tried to stay down there. Hey y'all.
what's up, Lala?
Uh-oh.
Oh, they come in.
You always
Oh,
come at the right time.
I didn't hit the beehive with a baseball bat. My bad.
Well, it's funny to say that when you say words that generalize the entire population and you think you can pretend to be the victim about it.
Wait, okay,
No, no, I'm not being a victim. No,
What did he say
I'm
that
ready.
triggered this?
I'm ready for the smoke, but I just didn't know the smoke was coming. But go ahead.
What was said that triggered this?
Official, you good to me?
He said women could not understand stoicism because we were too emotional to understand the concept of
No,
being self-sufficient.
what?
I
No,
didn't
I
hear
said it's a hard sell.
that.
Nah, yeah, I
The
didn't say
hard
that.
sell. Could you please clarify the hard sell?
Yeah. So because stoicism by women is typically seems to be perceived as like abandoning your emotions or not being able to feel a full range of emotions, but you
Who
still
told
could
you
feel them.
this?
The way that I hear a lot of women react to the word
Oh, the way
stoicism,
you hear it, so you never asked a
No,
woman
that would
about
be the
it?
women you're around, right? Because when you
yeah.
say a lot of women, 100%.
Oh, so what do y'all think?
feel excited,
I
ain't she?
think
Stop
that
being
women.
emotional about it
Sorry,
right
let someone
now,
else
Well,
talk.
that's what I said. The point is getting proven
But
so bad right now.
woman that's literally stating something different than what you think is typical, and you're not taking it into what she's saying. What Kat is saying is not typical to the woman you're around, but now once you invite a situation that's not typical, typical doesn't matter anymore because now that means that there's someone with another view. Would that be important in what you're saying, official? If she is different than the typical woman
Hold
you're
on, hold
around?
on. But baby girl, it's not official disagreeing with Kat. So regardless of her bringing her new opinion, official made his statement. So she would just need to rebut what he's saying, not get mad about it
I'm
and
so
be
lost.
emotional.
Yeah, I
Right.
didn't mean I didn't mean anything I said offensively.
When you
By
were
the
talking
way.
about
No, all
stoicism.
I'm saying is the belief that if you don't believe in a specific religion, you might believe in either stoicism, nihilism, or agnostic behavior. But you argued initially that religion was for the benefit of women because we couldn't fully comply with a stoicism type of
Oh,
spirituality.
I
And
did
I
not
know
say that.
that that might not be what you meant to say, but you implied that women were
But I
just
felt like, I
gullible.
feel like you said that.
And all right,
he
so
was asking to
I think
clarify.
right. Okay, so the problem with
Someone
the way
asked her
women
to
hear
clarify it.
the problem with the way women hear it in mass, they hear for implied meaning instead of what's being said. And I don't know if y'all be thinking that there's an ill
Except
motive
I
or
heard you generalize all women in multiple of your statements. Now you're trying to backtrack.
I'm not trying to
Hold on.
backtrack.
Hey, real
That's
quick,
all
I'm
you're
y'all.
trying to
just I'm
backtrack.
trying to have a
Kate,
conversation with you. I'm not
Kate,
trying to
Except
backtrack.
you're
All right, go
not.
ahead,
You're
guys.
trying to imply that I'm being crazy when you've said women tend to do
no.
this and women tend to do that without excluding any women or giving any benefit to the women for the doubt. You've said women tend to do this, women tend to do that. And then when I
Right.
say, hey, that's not
It
how
took
women
us a
act,
couple
you say,
words.
now you're being emotional.
But
Oh wait,
no,
Right,
I'm
I
being
right.
didn't.
no.
You're
You're not. I don't think
also
you're
being
being.
No,
I
emotional.
didn't. I don't.
one second, friends. 1 second, official.
Yeah.
You didn't say women don't act like that. You asked him if he thinks women are incapable of doing da da
He
da da
did
da da.
generalize all women, though,
Okay,
when he
real
said
quick,
Man,
but that's not what you asked him. You didn't ask him in an honest conversation. You did not ask him at any point, is that what he thinks all women did? You just presented it like you asked that, and that's not what happened.
okay, you're right. Actually, I did ask that, but then I interrupted and immediately went on to the next statement. And so I did deny him the right to respond, and that's fair.
all right. So do you know in
Asked him for
mass
him to
like
clarify, and when he clarified it, he basically repeated that and made sure that he clarified what he repeated was still considering the women he was around, which still generalized the women that he was around. That's why he said it was
Okay, but
typical.
the women he's around does not give an excuse to say, from what I know, women act like this. That is still a generalizing statement that is harmful.
No, okay, that's fine. But
what?
here's the reality. Baby girl
I,
just brought up that he said the women he's around, and then said that he's generalizing the women he's
But
around.
he
He would
did
know. He would
initially
know.
clarify
Cat,
it.
cat, Kate. It looks like Kate, actually, not cat. But is it cat?
A
Kate.
Kate or a cat, both work. They're both things.
Okay, Kate. He said the people around him. How? Who are we to tell him how the people around him behave?
And I'm not saying he meant it maliciously, but I'm saying
Yeah.
as women, when you hear this type of narrative spun, how do you not take a step back and say, wait, is this another person? And it's not your fault
All right.
Well,
So
either.
because
Kate,
that's
This
why
is
we
not,
didn't
not
if
address
this
that.
hold
isn't
on,
your fault, but this is another narrative that's
Kate, I
being
want to get your
spun around
argument.
me, does not exist to me. And I know you're
Kate,
defending him, and he might not be like the main perpetrator, but we do need to discuss like just these minor internalized behaviors where we say women tend to do this, women tend to do that,
all right.
and
Let me
it's
ask you,
based
Kate.
off of small samples because it's not true to who we are as people.
Do you believe? Do y'all believe in generalizations and on this panel? Because I do. I don't know if y'all do. Like
Yes,
you.
you do. That's what she meant. That's what she kind of was like pointing
Right.
out that
Right.
you do generalize. Like
All right.
I'm
So
definitely
yeah,
not.
I do that, but I'm never saying I don't like. It might sound like I think the whole planet's a certain way. I
But you
know there's always
disregarded religion and spirituality for women.
Hold on,
That's
pause.
what
Can he
offended
at least
Okay,
me.
get a
but when
word
you
in?
say, do
Hold
you
on,
believe in
hold on,
generalism,
pause,
official,
pause.
what do you
Mod
mean by
speaking,
that?
mod speaking, mod speaking, mod speaking. Thank you. If you guys would stop tag teaming him and he can get an actual sentence out, maybe we can move this conversation along. Because every
right.
time he opens his mouth, both you guys keep counteracting him. Can he just speak on what was talked about, and then we can move on from the statement?
Absolutely.
Thank you.
All right, Kate. I just want to get your argument straight. What I'm hearing is there's other variables that needs to be taken into consideration that I seem to like easily brush off, and there's a bigger picture that I'm failing to see. Is that correct?
Yes, exactly. Thank you.
Okay. What's the bigger picture that you think I should consider, if you don't
A,
mind? Like,
I think the bigger picture is you could have said, in my experience, I felt the women I've known who've been raised in religion tend to stick to more traditional ideas.
Got it.
And that would have been an extremely fair statement. But when you
Right.
said, from what I know, women just don't like spirituality, that's what can come across as very like targeted. And
No, I
that's what
don't.
can come across as
Yeah,
offensive. And I
I don't
know
think.
you didn't
Go
mean it
ahead.
that
Sorry.
way, but it's the language I want you to look out for. That's all I was saying.
No, that's fair. Okay. No, I don't. I never said that women don't like spirituality. I don't think y'all like stoicism specifically. I don't know what that has to do with spirituality, unless you consider
You were talking
stoicism
about
spiritual.
ideas outside of religion. And I know plenty of women who are stoic, but that obviously again goes into a different conversation. It's just when
Right.
you generalize like an entire gender into one idea, it's no different than generalizing a race into an idea or a certain body type into an idea. Like
Do
it's these things
right.
where it's like you can say, from what I know, this is what exists, but it is very much a thing you have to be aware of putting someone into a box they don't want to be in.
Yeah,
Right.
because
Well,
I feel
in
like at a
general,
certain
when
point when you said women don't tend to turn to stoicism, I didn't get that because I feel like stoicism is more of a
it's a hard
human
sell.
thing, you know, it doesn't really connect to gender to
It's a sense
gender.
of being,
So
it's a sense of self. Yeah.
right, so I didn't really
Well, let
that's the
me
part
let
that
me
I
But
ask
didn't
y'all
get.
this real quick because this is something I learned. Do you believe women are more intuitive
No, I believe both or me or him. Official.
overall? Do you
Uh,
believe? No, I'm talking about for the two women that's talking. Do y'all believe women are more
No, I
intuitive?
think
I believe
anyone
women
could
are
be.
proven to have more of an emotional center of their brain, and men are proven to have more protective and aggressive side of their
I would
brain.
say both.
I
I would
believe
agree
that
with
the
Kat. I would say
habits
both.
that we impose on young boys and young girls contribute to the fact that men and women behave
Okay,
differently.
okay, okay, okay. Cool. So, baby girl, you say you agree with what Kay said?
No, no, I don't agree with that. I believe that men could just have just as much intuition as women. I believe it's depending on the person's awareness level of where they of what they're considering to be intuitive about. Because there could be women that are not being intuitive about something specific, which a man could be. Because men are known for to be hunting, and to hunt it takes a lot of awareness and a lot of alertness. So I still think that's still some type of intuition that's used to hunt. It's just a different kind of intuition. I feel like.
Interesting. Okay.
right. So like, there's what a person says, and then like how it's taken. Right. And I know
And
what I was trying.
you're
Yeah,
right. I did come on you very strong, but it's
that's
Whoa,
because
okay.
I hear this
whoa.
language
Yeah,
used so negatively.
it's okay.
Not too
So
strong. Not too strong.
how should can you take my idea and word it in a more like, I guess,
Yeah.
politically
So
correct way?
I would
Like,
say I grew up
When
in
you
a
use the word
faithful
I,
community and I found strong through stoicism in a sense of myself. From what I've seen in women around me, I've noticed that a lot of women that I've known tend to have an aim to please. They don't love the idea of believing in themselves as much. It takes some time to believe in themselves. So they don't adhere to that, spirituality as much as I do initially. It might take them time to get there, but that is a valid spirituality.
right. So the reason I'll tell you, if I could get like a minute or two, if that's all right.
Yeah, of course.
Can you put a timer on me, because I don't want to go above the time. You know what I'm saying?
Got
If
you
that's all
right
right.
now. I got you right now. A minute.
Yeah,
Wow.
okay. All right. So with this stoicism, what that means to me, I'll define it briefly. It's the serenity prayer. Like, teach me the ability. God, teach me what I could control, what I cannot control, the wisdom to know the difference between the two. The
God
reason I
grant
think
me. God
stoicism is
grant
a
me.
hard sell. Give me a second, just 1 minute. The reason I think it's a hard sell for women is because I think a lot of them are ruled by idealism. Of course, not all. When I say a lot, I don't mean all. But I think a lot of them are ruled by idealism, and that's why they harp on things. There's repeating patterns of the world that they seek to change that will never will change, such as like the social commentary that men have about single moms. They make disparaging comments. I know that bothers a lot of women. That's commentary that's here to stay forever. Unfortunately, people are gonna speak the way that they feel like it. You know what I mean? So, and that's why when I said stoicism is a hard sell for women, that's what I meant, because when you're ruled by idealism, you think in terms of should or shouldn't, and that's how you conceptualize the world. And all you know how to do is say, well, men shouldn't, and people should, and when you're ruled by that, it's hard to be stoic. And that's what I was saying. You know what I'm saying? And I'm not saying no women could ever be stoic. I'm just saying, in mass, it might be a hard sell due to the fact that I think most women are ruled by idealism.
I don't know where you got that's a far fetch because stoicism has to do with more of an internalized view of the world. Period. it's not really about like gender norms and whatnot. It's just more about how you're able to deal with your thoughts and your emotions and what you feel about that. Isn't that just a human thing? Like, where does that come from that you think that it's only women that have these kind of internal conflicts within themselves about the world?
Yeah, so it's definitely a human thing, but there's definitely things that skew more towards one side of the fence than the other. Such as, like, I had a conversation with this one woman, and I said, "Who's more likely to wear high heels in a club?" She said, "I don't know. It depends." The fact that she said it depends is why we're fucked
That's out
as a
of
society.
context with this conversation. That's definitely out of context.
Right, but I'm just showing you how high heels skews more one direction than it does the other. I know it's not like, and that's another thing. Like
Gender
when men,
norms is what I'm trying to say. That wasn't based on an internal idea of oneself. That's just based on the gender norms that a woman would more likely wear high heels. That's a gender norm.
right, right, and I know what makes it different is high heels versus emotions and but that's another thing that men do. They take two things
I'm
that's
saying
seemingly.
It
Go ahead.
absolutely makes a
It didn't
difference.
correlate because what you're talking about is really about a virtue of a person. That's why I didn't understand the correlation between stoicism and women. I really did not get that because
What
honestly, I really
definition
think
of
it's more
stoicism,
of a,
somebody?
if anything, a cultural
All right.
thing.
Who do you think tries to control people's speech patterns more, like women or men, in your opinion? And
Man,
y'all,
Just did it. Sorry.
Just
oh, you
did
think
it. Like, oh my god.
y'all think
man,
y'all
I'm
think
sorry. Can
I'm
I
y'all
speak
think
finished.
on
men?
Just did it to
this?
you on this
Yes,
live. You
the
had
whole
to.
time, like everything he said,
Yes.
you both
You're
literally.
trying to. You're literally trying to control how he makes his own point.
Nah, and it's okay. Like I'm not mad at y'all. I'm just
That's
here
not okay.
conversating.
No, no, hold on. Official.
Okay, okay. Now I'm
That
just
is
trying.
you.
Okay, okay.
Yeah, he used stoicism and he said the Serenity Prayer, like, Lord God, me the good serenity to accept the things I cannot change, to change the things I can, and to know the difference, right? And you said that women do not understand the Serenity Prayer or something with it. And I actually love that
No,
prayer. No, he used it as an example of stoicism, right? He used the Serenity Prayer as an example of stoicism, which I love that prayer. I appreciate that prayer. That has nothing to do with a woman or a man. So I don't understand how he
He
correlated
was using
the
an
Serenity
example.
Prayer
So
with it
if you don't
being.
understand how he correlated, then ask him how he correlated. Don't tell him it
right.
doesn't fit.
No, because it has nothing to do with being a woman, why you would like that prayer. It's not about stoicism.
About accepting the things that you cannot control, and
Yeah.
women tend to have a problem doing that. Like right now.
So can I want to
No,
chime in on this a little
no,
bit.
no. Because if you listen to the whole prayer, it says the things I can't change, right?
I'm
So
gonna
you're just like going off of like what you're attached to in that prayer. That prayer's not for women. It's not for men. It's for people that are
I get
looking
it.
for a way to
No, no,
understand
that's
something.
not.
That's
No,
it.
no.
It's
I
not
get that. It's
gender.
not a gender prayer. That's what you're saying, and I believe I
But
agree
you
with
I'm
you.
use
listening to
that
what you
as
presented,
a
official. So you
correlation. You
don't have
just
to
went
respond to
against the
that.
whole point.
No,
Yeah,
yeah.
and
can I
All right.
chime in?
hold on, but baby girl, you're straw manning him like crazy. That's not his point. Whether it's for men or whether it's for women or whether that's not his point. It was very clearly not his point. So you're straw manning him. How about you steel man his position real quick?
I
So
wouldn't
I
call it
mean,
strongman.
tell us.
I would say
Hold on.
challenging him. I wouldn't use that word strongman or whatever you said.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no,
Okay.
steel man, no. So a straw man is when you take somebody's position and you make up your own points off of it, and you try to argue from the
Yeah, I
points
didn't
that
do
you
that.
made
I
off
didn't
of
do
it.
that.
Yeah, you just did. He never
Right.
said he never said the Serenity Prayer was gendered, and you just made an
Okay,
argument for why it's
You're a
not for
cheerleader.
men.
You're a
Hold on.
cheerleader.
Hold on. You just made an argument for why it's not for men or not for women. I'm asking you now to
Yeah.
steel man his
Well,
argument.
Okay,
Say what
okay,
he
Lala.
said. Say what he said and what he meant by
No,
what he
it's
said.
okay,
That's what
Lala. You know I like your name. It's honestly, it's okay. Y'all can
wait.
move on. It's okay.
Can we put a 2 minute timer? Okay, I was gonna say, can we put 2 minutes on, baby girl? It's up
I
to y'all. Whatever y'all want to.
I would like to chime in on this one.
Oh, go ahead, Huntress.
Go
Okay,
ahead,
so
honey.
we're talking about stoicism, whatever that word is, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
So typically, and I'm trying to make sure I understand the meaning of the word. The meaning of the word is being able to take on a problem without complaint or anything like that, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so for me, and I'm going to make this very general, for me, mostly that's men. Men are told to suck up their feelings and get on with their life. They're not allowed to express emotions the same way that women are allowed to express their emotions. So for me and majority of the people around, it's typically men that are able to do those things more often and better than women can. I'm not saying women can't do it, but it's a small percentage of women that can. Because 9 times out of 10, most women go off and be like, "Oh, I'm on my time of the month this month or this week, and I can't control my emotions in this moment."
where men, they don't have a time of the month. They have to control themselves and be the man at all times because their cultural differences are way different than our cultural differences as women. And that's all I wanted to put down on that.
Right. And when someone says what they've been noticing in mass, like they notice certain behavior in men, let's say it's a disparaging comment, like, you know, and maybe some people, they mean it like attacking the whole gender. When I speak, that's not what I mean. It's not that like, let's say, what you call it? Let's say if I was like, you know, who's more likely to break their PlayStation 4 controller after losing a match in NBA 2K? Definitely men. You know what I'm saying? Am I saying women are?
Nah, don't generalize men. Don't generalize men.
Generalizing women, he might as well generalize men while he
Some
has
women
it.
do it too. It's not a gender thing.
That's what
You're right.
you like.
Nah,
Now
you're
he's
right.
gonna
You're
go
right.
for the men.
But
Go
nah,
right ahead,
I think,
official.
yo, listen,
Talk
y'all. I
yourself
think men
right
are.
back
I
into.
think. Hold on.
That's
I
when you
think
know
men
a
are.
hit dog
One
hollering
second. One
because
second,
I
y'all.
broke brothers.
I think men are way more likely to break their controller after losing a match than a woman. I think, can a woman break her PS4 controller after losing a fucking match? Of course they can. But in general, you know what I'm
I
saying?
don't know where you're getting these ideas that men or women, because honestly, stoicism is just it's just a value of
Uh-oh,
being
talk
totally.
podcast that came up. Uh-oh.
Yeah,
Man,
yeah.
I
I
What
see
up,
her
mean,
talk?
going
I think you're
crazy
just
on me.
using generalization to the extreme at this point. Like you're just gonna go on with generalizing to come up with an
You just
idea.
don't like generalizations. I know that. That's all it is. It'd be all
Yeah.
right, baby girl. She done
So
messed up that
so
name now.
how do you
So
understand the world
official.
without generalizing? Go ahead, bro. My bad. Go ahead.
So official. Here's the problem that I have, right? Because you was making a real good statement about the victimhood era, right? And you was saying that, you know, you can go out, you can make $1 million, whatever, whatever, which is makes sense, right? To me. But when you use that woman as an example, I believe that's where you throw it off. I believe, you know what I'm saying? When you use the woman as a said, these women are, I forgot the way you phrase it, but when you
Stoicism is a
use a
hard
woman as
sell
an
to women.
example,
Yeah,
that's, I think that's when you turn it off, because I believe that I agree that a man and woman emotional level is different, but also a woman can understand the emotional if they're emotionally and mentally mature and healthy. They can have discernment too. So I think that's the way you threw it off, though. But I think you was making a good point, and I totally agree with 100% of what you
yeah.
said. Away from when you threw it off there, you know what I mean?
I think people thought the implied meaning was like underneath what I'm saying, that I think women are incompetent in certain areas or incapable. And I'm not trying to imply any of that. And if it sounded that way, my bad. Like I wasn't even trying to go there. Like I'm just saying what I notice in mass, it seems to be more skewed one direction than it is the other. Not that one side is incompetent and the other one has all the competence, but just in mass, I've been noticing these patterns. It's pattern recognition, and which leads to generalizations, because we all generalize over, like, you know, that after you have anecdotal experiences and then you have 10 of them, 20, 50 of them, like it leads to you having an overall view of men or women, you know what I'm saying? And it might disagree with other people's general view, but you know, the disagreement will be based off different anecdotals, and then it depends on if you trust data, if you trust some people don't
Yeah,
like
there's too many
statistics.
variables though, official. Like what you're saying,
Yeah.
there's too many variables to stand on what you're
Right.
saying. That's why you keep saying but, and I know, and I know, and I know this could be this, and I know this. You know, there's outliners, and this could happen. There's too many variables based on your
Right.
response. So
Right. So,
that's
baby
why
girl, my
I just
question to you, I don't know how to see the world without generalizations. How do you view the world without generalizing? Because I can't.
I
Physically
just feel
can't.
energy. I'm an energetic person. You know, I'm like I use energy. I'm
What does
actually a
that
woman that
mean?
believes
You
in
are a
It's
unicorn.
stoicism.
like a war. Oh, I'm sorry.
You
No,
use
I'm just
energy? I
saying,
don't
like
know.
I
Like,
do, I would,
A unicorn.
I am a woman that would believe in stoicism, right? So when he was saying that, I was like, well, I'm the opposite of that, and I'm a woman, so therefore, what he's saying
got you.
doesn't really hold weight
Well,
because
here it does hold weight. He didn't say all of you guys. He was saying
okay, but he's
generally.
clearly
There's
using
Kev, I am
generalization.
so sorry. I
Clearly,
don't
yes.
he's
know what
using
I started.
generalization.
So
So I'm
yeah,
just speaking
he's
on
not talking about
generalization.
you.
He asked me what. Okay, you know what?
Yeah.
Forget- Okay.
Yeah, I wasn't trying to. Did you, hold on, baby girl, did you take that
She
as a
said she
put
was a
down?
unicorn. She got it in her
All
profile.
right, all right, let
So
me ask you. Let me ask you. Did you
I want Kev
personalize?
to, I
Hold
want
on.
Kevin Rachel to see. They were
Did
talking
you, hold
about
on.
live, but it was not me, y'all. I did not do this. It was
Nah, it's
official.
not. It's my fault. My
Official
bad,
did
Kev.
this. This was
Yeah,
not
it's
me.
my bad, y'all. I got a question though. Like, did you personalize my generalization? Because when people get mad at me, usually that's the case. Like, they're getting mad at it because it doesn't apply to them, and then they're like, "Dude, like I'm the exception to the rule," and it's like, "Sorry, I didn't notice you there." Like, you know what I
I
mean? But
just
you're not
I
indicative
just
to
like
what I
I
see
just
in
like you have that
mass.
kind of thing where you want to cover the bases instead of just be direct and just say what you're gonna say. Don't, try to go around it and
Hmm?
be all over the place with it.
No, ma'am.
It's just you just
He was
people just
direct and
tend
you
to just
still
It's
go
wanted
all over
to.
the place and just stand on what you're saying.
Also,
I
you
just
didn't answer his question though.
it's one of the two. Either he speaks
No,
directly.
no. Can she please just answer his question?
What was the question? What's the question, official?
How do you view the world without generalizations? Because I'm physically
Well, you
incapable
asked
of.
her. You asked her if she
Because it's like
personalized
you know how the world sees you more than you see yourself. I look at it that way, right? The world sees me more than I see it.
Just to be
I look in
clear,
the mirror
Rachel
a
wasn't
couple times a
talking.
day.
Baby girl, baby girl, baby girl. She
I
wasn't
was,
talking about that question.
I was
She
talking about the
wasn't talking
question.
about that question.
Yeah, I was
She
talking
was
about the
talking about the
question.
second question.
Yeah, he asked you, did you personalize it when
Oh, my
he?
generalization, yeah.
Yeah, you're generalizing.
No.
Oh, nah, come on. You just said you're stoic. Okay.
Right, because then you
So I
immediately
think that I
you
think that
you
If you
attributed
say
what I'm saying
personalize
as
it, I want to bring to his
Not a
attention
stoic person
that there's
posting
right.
about
more there's more to it than what he sees. That's all. That you have to be aware of the spectrum. The spectrum is still within the window, right? So if it's on a certain spectrum, it's still within, what that is. It's just there's different variables to the degrees of that. I just
but,
wanted to bring that to his attention.
but
That's
baby
why.
girl, what you say it missed all over the head because you say you go by vibration, right? And by vibration is also a part of discernment too, right? And not having the courage to ask questions to avoid miscommunication. You look at people pattern, people behaviors and things that they say. And you can make an assessment and that person, you know what I mean, right at the top, we don't have to generalize that person or we don't have, you know what I mean, or we don't have to like point that person and say, well, that person is this way.
So let's
Because
talk. Are you saying that you don't make any generalizations about
no,
people?
I don't. I have the courage to
Okay, so when
ask
you
to
look at
avoid
women, hold on real quick.
miscommunication. Why would I generalize first someone? Well,
Okay, so
what
real quick,
didn't
when you see a woman, do you just assume that she probably has her menstrual cycle once a month?
no, why would I assume that? That's what I'm saying.
No. She didn't
Why
finish
would
her
you assume?
question.
Right.
Would you assume that she has her menstrual cycle once a month? Whether you know for sure, you just see a grown woman and you assume, okay, women have menstrual cycles once a month. You just assume that she
Exactly.
has one.
Well, that's not an assume because that's a fact, and a
Yeah, you're
fact
talking
is
about science, okay? That's science you're
that's a
talking about.
fact.
It's a
That's a fact, and a
generalization.
No, that's
factual is the
science.
truth, right?
Hold
That's
on.
science.
No, no,
There's
it's a
science to
generalization.
back
No,
up.
that's biology. That's science.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but
that's
there
There's
is
a
science.
science
reason.
to back up what he was saying about.
Exactly.
No, generalization is
Yes,
not
there
science.
is.
That is, hold
What?
on. Hold on. That is called a generalization. You don't know if that lady has her
It's
cycle every
called
month or not.
science.
You don't know if she doesn't
Never.
have her fallopian tubes. You
And
don't
it's
know if she
science.
got a
It
hysterectomy.
depends on biology. That's all. What you're asking is a
It
scientific
doesn't. No, it
question.
doesn't. Stop trying to overtalk me if you hear my point. You don't know if that woman has her fallopian tubes. You don't know if she's had a hysterectomy. You don't know if she's going through menopause. You don't early menopause. You don't actually
He
know.
said
But
no.
you
He said he doesn't generalize that. He's not
he
generalizing
just said
science. He
no, no,
said no.
no. Stop. He said that before I finished my question. When I finished my question, what did he say? Well, yes, obviously that's a fact.
I never said I generalized. I
That
said
is
based
a
on science and based on human being, right? It is a fact that a woman born to have this cycle, right? So why would I generalize that? Why would I want to generalize that,
you
knowing
did
that is the
generalize
fact?
it. That
If
is
I
what
believe that that
generalization
person
is.
don't have a cycle, then I'm gonna ask that person to avoid miscommunication, to
Yo, you're
generalize a
right.
person and say, oh well, she's on her cycle, right? I'm gonna ask her, you know, that mood that you into, are you on your cycle? What's going on with you? You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna ask that question. I'm not gonna generalize.
I
I
think the
don't
problem, y'all.
generalizing people. Generalizing people is just like gang stacking, and it's worse when you generalize a person instead
You
of
don't
the
know. You don't
courage.
understand the question, but that's okay.
No,
Yo,
you're
I
not
think
accepting the answer. Like you just
I
don't
think
accept the
yo.
answer.
No, he doesn't understand the question. I know what I
Yes,
said.
I do. You think I'm like not as smart. You think I'm just like out there. You saying
No,
how
I
would
can
I?
tell based
You
on. I can
said
tell based on your answer. I can
I
tell
guess
based
all
on
men ain't stoic either.
okay,
right.
okay, all right. You're
So I can tell
generalizing
based
me
off your
now
answer you
by
might
saying I
not
don't understand the
understand.
question.
That's
Because
not
If
generalizing. I'm
I'm
now
talking
there is
experienced as
directly.
you, let's talk. I'm the
I'm
same way. Like
directly
I said, I
talking.
go.
I'm directly talking
Man,
about you. So I'm not generalizing anything.
Well, you're
What you
definitely
call
I like
generalize? What's your
strong holding.
definition
You're
of
strong
generalizing
holding
then,
him.
I don't
Layla?
have my own definition. There is
You're
a
strong
definition.
holding
majors
his
Yeah,
and
what's the
answer.
minors.
definition of generalizing then?
Okay, I
Majors and
got you. Don't worry
minors.
about it. I'm pulling it right up for you.
You don't have to
Most.
look it up. You say you understand it, so don't look it up.
nah. We like to make sure you just gonna
Hold
play.
on.
Okay, I appreciate that.
I mean, I
I'm
don't
talking
know.
about
Even
let's talk. I'm just, I think it's okay to be able to, converse and try to learn new things about situations and topics and whatnot. It might not always be what you think it is.
yeah, I think that so the issue is when people talk in generalizations, we assume that they're talking in absolutes. You don't find absolutes in generalization. You turn to God's word for that. You know what I'm saying? Like, so when someone says something's 80% true, it's not that they can't acknowledge that it's 20% false. It's just that they think that the 80% is worth more of their attention. And if you think 80 and 20 should be closely examined equally, I think you're wrong. Like, I think more attention should be
You know what,
spent.
official? This is all your fault, official. It's all your fault.
Right, right.
You be all over the
Bishop,
place.
what I think of generalization when you generalizing a person is when you see a person maybe in a certain clothes and you don't know that person because a person wearing a bust-up pants and a bust-up shirt and you don't know nothing about that person. Then you make an assumption that that person is homeless or that person is this way and that person is that way. You're
Right. What
generalizing
was
the
the point
person,
of putting
right?
a definition up there?
Right.
That's what the world
Nazi?
does.
So that's what I consider
Definition of
generalization.
oh, there she go. There she go. She
Yeah,
got it.
hi, sorry. I was waiting for them to
Definition did
stop talking.
nothing.
So a general statement or concept obtained by inference from specific cases.
Hey, no.
So everybody generalizes because that's how you survive in the world when you interact with other
Okay, you're
individuals.
talking
You
about
learn how to
survival. You guys are just you're just moving the goalposts.
I'm literally using the definition.
We're
Well, then
standing
you
on
can
the
win
It's
every
not
court
ever
case they ever
to
had.
make
If you use
to make
that
it.
No,
explanation,
he
you could
just
win
said he
every
never
court
does.
case
So
for
what are
that.
you talking about?
There's no
He
human in
literally
there.
That's gonna win
said.
every case off that one statement.
Right.
Everybody does it. Everybody does it. You can't say everybody and always and da, da, da. Like, what do you mean everybody does this? You don't know what everyone does. You can't say what everyone does. That's ridiculous.
Okay,
Well,
That's
It's
a
a
not
generalized
generalization.
very
statement.
well. You know how many times we said we are not talking about everybody, and you literally just said
Oh, she's
every.
responding to what I just said. My bad, Rachel. But go ahead.
Just said everybody before you drop. Just say everybody do that. So everybody
I did say
generalize.
that. I
uh,
said I really believe that.
You know, but she said that
Said
before she drop.
I don't
well,
know.
I would say, yeah,
Oh,
I think that
yeah.
everybody, I mean, a lot, yeah, everybody does generalize. When you see something, then and you see
Yeah,
it
you
often. That's
categorize.
what I looked at, what general
Hold on.
terms mean
Do,
without
do,
regards of particulars or
yeah.
expectations. I'm sorry.
Let me ask the ladies. Do y'all have a type of what man that y'all looking for, or like a type like that y'all interested in? And is that not a generalization?
I mean,
Like,
I have certain things that are attractive to me, but I wouldn't call that a type, right? If
what would
it's
you
a
call it?
type, I would say no, because it can land under any different, nationality or height bracket or whatever. But certain things are attractive, like when a person is interested in something and they're really, knowledgeable about it. So I'm attracted to intelligence and men that show a high quality of intelligence, right? So I don't know if that would be a type or that would be more for a feeling or you know what I'm saying. So that
Well,
could be in any type of person. It's just
well,
intelligence. It's
right.
just how they present themselves and the energy that they give off. I love to
I'm sure there's
admire.
people that don't press your attraction triggers at all, right? Like they're repulsive to you.
I don't really be around people that are repulsive to me.
I get it, but it's because they're repulsive that you won't come around. But what I'm saying is, I'm sure you have like, a judging system for like. Would you say you're someone that doesn't judge people? Because a lot of people they have that notion too. I
No,
don't
I
judge
just try.
nobody.
I mean, personally, I live in Brooklyn, so all I
Yeah.
do is just try to be a aware person, right? Being aware
Uh-huh.
means that you can't really generalize. Like I can't generalize. I have to. Like, there's people that can hustle you and scam you wearing nice clothes, and the person begging for $2 could just be literally begging for $2 and not trying to rob you. But someone could rob you with a suit on, right? So I can't go by that. Living in Brooklyn, you just got to be aware and be a vigilant person with men and women, and even young children. A young child can have, a pew pew. You know what I'm saying? It don't even got to be someone that you would expect to have a pew pew. Like it doesn't. I'm in Brooklyn. It just you can't really generalize. You got to
Yeah.
go off of your awareness, which she was talking about was survival skills, right? Survival skills are based off an awareness ability. It has nothing to do with generalization at all. Yeah, certain animals do certain things, and based on science, and a tree gives off certain whatever, and it could just fall. Or a tree could just fall on you, and that can happen,
You
right?
just generalize them animals. You just said certain animals. I know I'm talking about. But all right,
I was just about to say that.
Generalize.
That's
let's
just
get
When you
breed,
generalize
like
a person, right, is based on specific observation, right? Then you generalize a person
observation.
by observation how they move,
can't help
observe
but
how they
saying, right?
dress, observe
Yeah,
how they
can't
say
help.
things, and
Let's
that's to
talk
me
about
that's
it.
We had a
generalization when you
Let's talk about
specific
it. All right,
observation.
let me get AJ in real quick, so we can get this general topic of.
I like that.
One, I want to say two things. Hi, host. Well, actually, fuck that. Hi, everybody, but host and Rachel, who I tagged in the bottom and said hi to, and you still ain't said hi to me.
We both said I said hi, and I seen her say
Hello,
hi.
AJ.
No, I didn't see it. I didn't see it.
Well, hold up,
I didn't see it.
Mom.
You didn't
I
press
said,
send.
hey,
Nah, bro.
little head. I
Nah,
tried
I
to
said
You did not
separate it.
press
It
send.
ain't.
No, AJ, look, I'm not even gonna lie to you. This conversation's got my heart beating real fast. I'm over here just trying to breathe, okay?
Look. I appreciate the honesty. I still love
yeah,
y'all.
yeah,
Oh
I
I
yeah,
still love
missed the
y'all.
T-Boo did.
whole
I forgot
comment.
he didn't say nothing, did he? I think he wanted to
But
say something. He told
so are
I'm
we? Are
leaving
we
T-Boo.
talking
Say
about
something.
the
I'll be like,
victimhood thing, or are we talking about generalization? Because I'm confused.
So some people, we're not generalize this. Some people
Oh, for
believe
fuck's sake.
we don't generalize.
that was good. That was good.
So
How
are
you
we
feel
talking?
about that generalizations? Do we do that? Can we help it? Can we not help it? Can you avoid
Okay,
it?
so if we're being 100% honest, and I mean on some real shit, no cap. In a perfect world, no, we shouldn't generalize people, right? We should be able to meet people where they are and so on and so forth. However, majority of us don't do that. Okay, we generalize the hell out of a lot of stuff, right? If you see somebody who's walking down the street and they, I don't know, say look like a crackhead to you, you're gonna assume that they're a crackhead. They may not be a
Oh,
crackhead.
wait, that's a trigger word. I don't want his thing to
Yeah,
get
you
flagged.
can't
Go
tell
ahead.
how
Oh,
they
my
look
bad,
though.
my bad, my
The
bad.
Now
F1
she
in the comments, y'all.
The
F1 in the
CHs could be in
comments.
high school, girl. They could be in high
we
I
are those
forgot, bro.
fan
I
base.
forgot what
That's
F1
all.
was. I'm
That's a
sorry,
fan
y'all.
base.
I'm sorry. But you know what I'm saying? Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You never know. You know what I mean? That person could just be, maybe they got, you don't know what happened. So I think in a perfect world, we shouldn't. But realistically, it's normal for us to do that. It's pattern recognition. That's how we stay safe in situations. Because you can't just walk around in life and just be like, oh, I'm not going to generalize nothing. You know what I mean? And not generalize anything. Because you may walk into a situation that can get you unalive because you didn't use your discernment, because all the signs were saying, hey, this is a dangerous situation, but you didn't want to generalize.
But you
And
said
then you
two
unalive
things, right?
yourself.
You said two things that you know that I agree with. You said not all people generalize, right? And you also said the gift of discernment, right?
Yeah,
So you can use a gift of discernment without generalizing a person because you recognize pattern, behaviors, and stuff like that, right? Vibration and
yeah.
stuff like that, and you can know that something is not right. So let me move
Can
this
you
way because your spirit tell you not to go to that spot, right?
That's fair. That's fair.
So you can said 100% that not all people generalize, right?
Not your spirit generalizing.
Not all people generalize, right?
We can never say 100% for anything. That's
But
literally
you,
impossible. We
oh no, we ain't
cannot.
living forever. You can
So
say that
so hold on,
100%.
hold on. There is truth to that, right? Because there's always going to be outliers. But if we are going to have conversations where we are making generalizations, generalizations are not including the outliers in a conversation,
Yeah,
right? If
but
we
that's
are
the
talking
problem though.
about
People
the
people hear it.
outliers, say in a
Right.
situation where we're talking about, I don't know,
To agree on way
the
the
amount of
outlier
people
in the
who the
conversation.
amount of people who eat meat, right? Most people who eat meat eat steak, right? Or eat chicken, right? That's a generalization because not everybody who eats meat likes chicken, right? That's a generalization. I can make that generalization. Are there outliers of people who don't like chicken? Yeah.
That's not
But
even
for
an
the sake of
outlier. But that's not, that wouldn't
conversation,
be an
we
outlier
kind of
though.
have to figure out like what we're talking about. That's all I'm coming from. I'm sorry, baby girl. Go ahead.
Yeah, but I'm saying based on the country you live in, based on the culture you have, that would be considered outlier or not. Like some countries don't even eat cattle. So in that country, that's
Exactly.
not an outlier. So
Exactly.
that's
That's
what
what
I'm
I'm
trying to say. You
saying.
can't really say that either.
No. That's why I'm saying, for the sake of conversation, that's where context is going to be important,
So
right?
for
If
the
we are
sake of
talking about, say, for
Right,
example, if I'm
exactly.
making that statement, I'm saying talking about America,
so for the sake of
right?
conversation, right? You don't
Right.
eat meat, right? You don't eat
Right.
meat, right? Are you gonna generalize and assuming that person eat meat? Are you gonna ask that person, hey, do you eat meat or not?
Right. Exactly.
Right.
What's
So
wrong
So
with
with
basically,
that
saying
being
I'm
what what
said,
sorry? I
what
mean, dang,
what
what's wrong
what
with
so hold
generalizing?
on,
what you
hold on, hold
saying?
on, hold
What you
on, hold on.
saying to me, like an outlier that saying that, hey, well, I don't eat meat, and well, to me, it's just like far fetched because basically, if that's what I'm saying, most people have the courage to ask questions to avoid miscommunication, and that's what we're not doing. We're not asking.
Even with that being said, I think most people think that they're asking questions, but some questions
How
really don't
can
need
you
to be
think?
said,
Okay,
right?
you
So
think that
because
you
hold on, just for the sake of
okay.
argument,
Mhm.
right? If we're having a conversation and say the topic is about, I don't know, I don't know how men treat women, right? And the general consensus is a lot of people are coming up here and saying, "Oh, men are treating women like crap," da 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 da. Right? We hear that on this app every day. Are there outliers to that rule? Yeah, of course there is, because that's not true for everybody. But you have to look and use your context clues when we enter in conversations, right? Communication isn't just going in and just being like, "Well, I don't want to be misunderstood." You also have to listen to the conversation that's being had, so you can figure out what conversation you're having, right? So you're not making generalizations that aren't true, and you're not speaking on something that's not correct. Because if we're going based off of no generalizations, okay, cool. Well, then we can't talk about really anything, because the conversation will never move forward. Because now we're arguing whether or not people are going to do this or they're going to do that. You see what I'm saying? So that's all I'm saying is just it depends on what conversation we're having. That's why when I came up, I was like, are we talking about victimhood, or are we talking about like just the definition of generalizations here? Like I'm confused.
Okay.
Look, I'm sorry, but we're gonna
It's
generalize.
fault.
If
It's
y'all
all
don't, if nobody like
You
y'all
funny.
gonna go to every panel and it's gonna be generalization. So I mean, y'all might have to get start a non-generalization panel. You know what
And
I'm
that's gonna be
saying?
in general.
And have a
That's
conversation
what we're having right
together.
now. We're having a non-generalization panel right now at this point.
Absolutely not. We're moving on.
Well, you're the one talking about having a generalization
All right,
conversation that
hold
we've been
on.
having for the
Hold
past
on,
20
it's okay.
minutes.
It's okay. It's not that big of a deal, y'all. It's not that deep, I promise. It's really not that deep. You know what I mean? I understand where both of y'all are coming from, right? I have come across topics where the question is really about an anecdotal experience, and people are trying to make generalizations, and you can't really do that. But I
But where
think
I'm
for the
coming from
sake of
is
context
sorry.
for this live, hold on, for this live,
Mhm.
if I'm reading these prompts, these are not anecdotal prompts. Like this is pretty like, hey, generalization. Are we living generally in a victim era? Is what I'm reading is this the victimhood era? That's how I'm reading that. I'm reading that in general terms. I'm not reading that in well, anecdotally. I think no. Like we
That's
would get
you.
nowhere.
Everyone's gonna see it differently.
Okay,
That's
okay,
Right,
you.
or
then
can
we
you
answered
say,
in general. We just thought about
or
that.
can you say that when the topic is asking a specific question, is this a victimhood error? Is a specific question. It's not saying nothing
Is it
about
asking? Is it
generalization
asking you?
or
Are
nothing.
you
It's a
living? Okay,
straightforward
so
question.
with that being said, again, if we're reading the question is this keyword being this the victimhood era? Not are you living in a victimhood era? That would change the difference on whether or not we are talking anecdotal experience or generalization.
I just think
We
I think
gotta
it's
read
just
the
asking.
question.
Now let's talk. Now let's talk.
Yo, I just think it's just asking a plain question. Is a specific word that used to lead up to a question too. Just like are is they, but what I mean, there's
Mhm.
all leading up to a question. So to
Right.
me, when I read that, and I'm just saying to me, when I read that, it asks me a specific question. Is this a victimhood error? And I would answer yes or no. No,
Yeah.
why? Yes, why?
Exactly.
Yeah,
So I
this
don't
So I don't
understand.
see any generalization in
that is
that
a
question because
generalization
I'm going
if
to
we're
answer
asking for an
yes or
anecdotal
no or
experience.
why. I'm not going to go around the corner and go, well, blah, 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 blah. Yes, it is. And this is why. No, it is. And this is why.
So you
But
agree to what y'all just agreeing?
right, like you're just
Okay,
saying what I
yeah,
said.
that's what I'm hearing
Like,
too.
I'm
Because
confused.
it's like you're generalizing the era because not everybody in this era is doing it. But in a whole, there's a lot en masse that are doing it. So it's like when you say yes or no, then you're saying as a whole that this is happening or it's not happening. What more do you see of? So to me, that's
Right.
what it means when you say
So
generalization. It's like I see more of this than the other thing.
right. So for the sake of a conversation, okay. Hey John, we are gonna move along. Some like what question are we on, Kev? So we can get through your topics because I know you be posting these on YouTube. So
You guys have a good night.
yeah, no problem, man.
Why
Okay, bye.
he leaving? You can't.
Man,
Wait,
we
we
done took all the
can't.
anecdotals away. What's
Wait,
going on?
Yeah. What happened?
You
wait,
see,
you
these are
said
two. I don't want to be. I don't want to contradict myself and answer these general.
But you contradicted yourself
I
when you
don't even
repeated what I
know
said. Like I don't understand.
how did
Yo,
y'all get here? Like I left, made plates and everything. I'm like,
it's all
what
my fault.
happened?
It's all
Listen,
me.
See,
No.
official. See,
now he
like
can. Now you can personalize that. There you go. It's official's
it
fault.
needs to be said. Look, I used to be like that too. Like every time they spoke anything bad about women, I used to be like, "No, we're not like that." And I
Yeah,
used to
like
make
we,
it
you added yourself. I'm sorry,
right.
Miss Rachel. But yeah, because I heard that and I was like, what? And it's like, no, the women that I see that I be around is like, but then again, you don't like, I don't know. When I hear people say, like, oh, the women that I be around, the women I see is like, do
Right.
you
Those.
really know
Right.
them like you think
right.
you do? Because people can give you a fake persona of themselves and then
Right.
I just
like
want to
they
say.
be,
Yeah.
I'm sorry to say that. Go
Oh
ahead.
no, my bad. Go ahead. Sorry, it cut out.
No,
My
no.
bad. Go ahead, Charlotte. I'm
Oh.
sorry. I didn't cut you off, man.
But yeah, like well, I don't. It's like Miss Rachel just said, and she was like, "Well, I like, I'm not that way." I had to learn, like, when I listened to Kevin, I think I could say it, but Kevin Samuels, I was like, at first, I was like, "No, he didn't. Oh, no, he didn't." But then I was like, "Oh, I see what he's saying." Like, I was a little like, "What? No, I don't know, he not." But then I was like, "Okay." After listening, and then my godmom, when she was alive and really replaying back in my head what she would say. Like, well, her was stuff more personal. She knew me from head to toe, so she would get me together. But then hearing what Mr. Kevin Samuels was talking about, it's like, well, no, he said this, he said that, and it's like, but if you don't fit there, why are you putting yourself there? Like, I don't even get upset. Like when I hear, I be on panels. And they'd be like, you got all these women up here, and they're just allowing you to say this about women. Well, I can't say that it's not true. I mean, I know it's not true for me, for me, come on, say their baby mamas and this and that. What do I look like? Come on. It's not all of us. It's not, I'm not a
Not
bitter baby
all.
mama.
But but the problem with a lot of it too is it. The way I see it is it's like school, right? If you're in school and you read the question wrong and you answered it wrong, you got it wrong. They don't just like, oh well, that's your experience. You know what I
That's
mean? You got to be
true.
able to read the question and
Well,
answer the question for
you
what it
thought
is.
you thought the color was red.
You know what I'm
It's
saying?
on you.
Right.
You
Like,
you
you know
thought
what I
it
mean? If
was.
they were just
Everybody
like,
else thought it was
right.
blue.
So if
It's
the
okay.
question was, is the sky blue? It didn't ask, well, did you think the sky is blue?
Well, that's your truth.
You know what I'm saying? What are you going to do? Tell the teacher that's your truth? It ain't blue, it's purple? Like, the teacher's going to be like, no, fool, that's blue. Like,
I'm gonna
we're
give
going to
you
have
an
to
A
hold you
for
back a
that.
couple grades. What's going on?
Well, what they
You know,
said, facts don't give a butt about your
so,
feelings.
that's what
I
I'm
don't
saying. Like,
feel.
that's why I'm saying it does depend on, again, right? This is where clarification, like I don't have a problem, with clarification questions. Because again, if the question, because I've seen where the question is worded in a way that is anecdotal for somebody to answer, but they're looking for generalizations.
Hmm.
But again, the question isn't structured that way, right? Hell, I've gotten on Kev for that. I'm like, Kev, you didn't ask a general question. You asked me what my opinion was. You're like, but I was looking for general. I was like, then you need to change that word, sir. You're like, I got you. You know, like it happens. You know what I mean? And it's the same thing. So, using this prompt as an example, if I'm reading this, I'm not reading anything anecdotal here. This is all generalization. So, again, I don't know why we arguing about generalizations because that was crazy. Uh,
They
and
said
the
prompts can be
definition.
Hey,
generalizing.
I feel like I'm single-handedly responsible for 3 members dropping. Four of
Right.
them, goddamn
Three
it.
of them
That's
dropped
perfectly
out.
fine. Hey, not everybody can
He
keep
said,
up with
I
the
can't
conversation.
handle
That's
that.
fine.
My bad, y'all. I just
Watch
came to
out.
answer the prompt.
Better
Right, I
watch
can't
out
answer
for
the
that
prompts
finger
too,
being on the
but
chin,
I'm gonna
man. It's
mute and let
over.
y'all go. Whoop.
They gonna be like, every time I see that, I'm gonna go because I don't want him to generalize me.
That's hilarious.
They came
I
from
just
the comments all the way to up here for that. I'm like, wow.
and I remember I was just hearing like, dang, he can't get his word out because I was trying to follow the conversation. I came back, but I'm like, every time he say something,
I
but
think,
no,
yo,
but no, but
so
no. I was like,
someone,
what is
yo,
going
someone
on over
mentioned,
here?
someone mentioned Kevin Samuels. I think the only women that can listen to him without being offended are the ones that accept generalizations as being generally true. And like that, you have to accept generalizations in order to even hear Kevin Samuels, because those that can't accept it are going to turn him off. In my opinion, that's what I think. But
Yeah,
That's a good
that's
one.
true.
We can agree.
Because
It might have to be a
But
topic
anywho,
too.
We
to the
just
topic.
generalized. Robbie.
Sorry, I just did it again. You see what I'm saying, Shan?
Why
Right.
is
Damn.
you
Nah, nah.
generalizing about the general?
I was like, I'm
In
cool.
general, it
I mean,
doesn't
I can
apply
I
to
can see that
all.
being your perspective. That's fine. But we can agree to disagree. I ain't gonna drop off the
Doesn't
panel though, so
apply to
we cool.
all.
Right. Me and my husband used to watch
It's
Kevin Samuels like it was the reruns of Martin. We would watch that thing
oh.
going to sleep. I would play the song like in the bottle. Yeah, like
Mhm.
it would just be my jam. Like, we would watch all of his
John, what I
episodes.
do?
Like it was
So
crazy.
I don't
Did I
understand
did
how
I
people.
offend did I offend John too? What I do, John? Go ahead, Rachel, or whoever
Nah,
was talking.
no,
Nah,
I
I
don't
think he's messing with
understand
you.
how people can get like offended about generalizations when it's just sharing opinions. It's like I believe that this, and this. Like you don't have to think it's true. Like, are
Mhm.
they forced to believe it's true?
Because
Right.
most people don't know how to have a conversation anymore, so they think everything is a debate. It's like, oh boy, up here saying exactly what I said, but arguing with me about it.
Right. I
Well,
caught
that
that as a
generally
kid. I was
happens, you
like,
know.
That genuinely happens, you know what I mean? Genuinely,
Miss
that
Rachel
tends to
was like,
happen. That's
so
crazy.
basically y'all agree. He was like, out of here, pew, gone.
No.
Right. I was
Hey,
just
I
like,
can't
you
argue no more,
contradicted
so let me get up
yourself.
out of here.
Bro, you heard his tone? He sounded destroyed at the end.
I don't look, I tend to have that effect, and it's because I
That's
don't
like having
fluctuate in tone.
a tone matter thing, though, right?
The outlier of woman stoics.
I know how dare I be very like consistent and logical. Crazy how that works. Crazy.
Yeah, I already knew. I was like, oh, Miss AJ coming up here. She's about to shut it all down. She was like, da, 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 da. He was like, pew, and the last
Yo.
apple fell.
Right.
But yeah, let's get into the topic, man. That's what I came up here for. I wanted to hear everybody go. What y'all get to before you ended up on the generalization
We got
conversation? Or did we even get to the damn topic?
we got to
Barely.
take it from last. We almost done.
Okay, cool. Do you want me to go, or who was up before
You
I interrupted?
can,
I'm
you
sorry.
can.
Since I've been here, it's been unintentional rage
Everybody
baiting,
else done
basically.
left.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Oh shit.
Yeah.
They said no more general because y'all checkmate me now. It's
Nah,
over.
I'm gonna make all the generalizations now, and I ain't gonna say not all because if the shoe fits, get the stepping, boo boo. It
Right.
is what it is. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm gonna
Right,
tell you right
yo.
now, I had never scrolled through a 304 live and been offended. You know why? Because I ain't a 304. Crazy how that work, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah, you gotta just, I don't know, man. And I wonder, is that low self esteem where it's like you need language to cater to you? It's like, what the heck, man? Like, I don't know. Like
Nah.
you should know where you rank. You should know where you are in the world, you know? You should know what category you belong to. You know what I mean? I don't know. And people don't
You
like
said what is
categories, but
wrong you? I'm done with you, Rachel.
right.
But, yeah, nah, I don't know. But I'm gonna go ahead and just answer them real quick. Is
Ooh.
this a victimhood era? Absolutely. We live in that. People do not want to take self accountability in anything. Everybody want to talk about healing journeys, breaking generational curses, and at the end of the day, it's all surface level. Most people are not doing the work, and you can tell. You can tell in the way they talk. You can tell in the things that they do and the patterns that they still consistently stay stuck in, despite being on a quote unquote healing journey for the past I don't know how many years, since the pandemic. Let's be real, but you're still in the same pattern. So at some point, is it really the healing journey or is it you? Just saying.
Mm.
What could be the reason this era is so emotional today? Because people right now don't know how to emotionally regulate, and that comes from self discipline. People think that that's supposed to be outward,
Not
right?
all.
So you have people now who think that, you know what I mean? Oh, well,
Wait,
I have triggers. I come from trauma. I need you to dance around all my triggers because you can't trigger me. That's not the responsibility of the rest of the world. That's your responsibility as an adult, as a human, because you have to work and live in a world with other people. Instead, you know what I mean? I've always blamed it. It started with this whole what's it called? The I'm the main character energy BS, right? Well, if you're the main character and everybody's the main character, then who's being considerate to other people,
right.
right? There's
Thinking
a
they the
bit of a
main character.
contradiction.
Right, thinking they the main character when they the damn cameo. You know what I'm saying?
That part, like you
Not
can't
the
be the
camera.
main character, the hero, the victim, and and the villain at the same time. Y'all gotta pick a lane. Like figure out who you want to be. Like, you know what I'm saying? It's what it is. Um, my bad. It is what it is. So it's just It's weird. That's what I blame it on, majority. And then also just a lot of people, you know, because of, and I don't blame social media. I understand that it started and it was, the intention behind it was supposed to be a good thing, you know, people becoming more, you know, self-aware with mental illness, being more mental health and like being more accepting towards it. The problem is that people also like to self-diagnose themselves and don't actually go see professionals, right? And I have always screamed, you need to go see a professional if you think you have some sort of disorder, because a lot of shit mimics other shit, right? The amount of self-diagnosed autistic people who are running around all over the place is crazy. The amount of self-diagnosed people with trauma, and you think trauma is somebody told you no and you didn't like that, so now that's trauma. Like, that's not what that means. You see what I'm saying? Also, dealing with trauma, everybody has trauma. You know what I mean? Most adults have trauma to some degree. They have gone through something, most people, generalization, most people have gone through something traumatic, right? That doesn't mean that gives you the excuse, or because you have mental health or because you have a disorder, that gives you the excuse to be an asshole to everyone else. F1, for lack of a better term. See what I'm saying? You can't do that. Yeah, exactly, Rachel. Even professionals misdiagnose people all the time. You know what I mean? So you got to start using discernment, y'all. That's all I'm saying. And a lot of people, honestly, a lot of their mental health would get better if they would honestly just get off this app. And what I mean, like, literally go touch some grass, like start gratitude journaling. If you gratitude journal every day for 30 days, did you know that you could probably, more than likely, it would improve your depression, it'd improve your mood, and improve your outlook on life? Just saying, they've done the statistical research. Just saying. But I'm gonna digress. I'm gonna leave that there.
Can you repeat that last part about what improves your mental? I missed it. My bad.
Oh no, you're good. It's gratitude journaling. If you spend, you know, just time writing down things that you're actually grateful for, and you do this, say, for 30 days,
Wow.
it improves your mental. You know what I mean? People actually want to start getting out of bed because now you have something to work for. You have something to look forward to instead of just focusing on the negative. Oh, I don't have this. Oh, I don't have that. How come official over there, you know, and it has $20 and I don't got $20? Because you didn't see what official had to do to earn that. But that's his journey. That ain't got nothing to do with you. You know what I mean? But too many of us are too busy, you know, comparing ourselves to everybody else. That's why our mental health is the way that it is. But I digress on that. Like, that's a whole other conversation.
Are you a life coach? Because you could really be one, man. I'm not even just like saying that. Like, for
I'm
real.
not.
Like,
I'm not. I'm just a person who's gone through a lot of
I'm
stuff, and I
sorry.
like to be honest and
Gotta,
transparent and talk about the human experience instead of what it should be. I talk about reality.
right.
So yeah.
That's what I was talking
Um,
about when they pounced on me. I was like, women tend to be more ruled by idealism and how it should or shouldn't be theoretically. But it's like life is life. Is people are going to be what they prefer to be. Like life is not like YouTube where you could turn off the comment section. Like men are going to make disparaging comments about single moms. Like that's just what they do.
and
Like,
it's it,
but,
yeah, but that goes both ways. You know,
yeah,
vice
of
versa. Women are gonna do the same thing to men. Men are gonna do the same thing.
course.
And at the end of the day, y'all kind of look stupid because y'all stand in the same place pointing fingers at each other. You know what I
Right.
mean? At the end of the
Yeah.
day, like for me, I don't hold men higher than women. Women higher than men. You're all adults. You know what I mean? I'm not, unless I'm trying to marry you, I am not invested that much. You know what I mean? And I'm not gonna hold you
Right.
to like that high of a everybody's held to the same standard, you know, and that's how it should be. But unfortunately, we don't live in a world like that. We live in a world where people tell you that you need to be vulnerable with everybody, confess all your secrets. Um, you know what I mean? It's everybody else's problem. It's never yours. You know, oh, you know, you're perfectly fine the way you are. Don't let nobody tell you anything. And so therefore it creates the facade of we don't have to have self accountability. So yeah,
Be
have we
yourself.
gotten better or worse? I say we've gotten worse. I say we have gotten way, way worse. And I think because of that, and because of just the way that like mental health is, and the way that right now, let's be real, people like to do what's trending. And right now, it's trending to be rebellious against religion. A lot of the people who I meet who are rebellious against religion don't really believe those things. And a prime example of that is how many times have I seen people hold lives where they're holding Bible studies on here? They're minding their own business. And an atheist walks in there, oh, I don't believe in God, I don't believe in hell. And then somebody tells them to go to hell. And they come unglued. How are you offended about something you don't even believe in? Don't worry, I'll wait. Okay. Are you following a trend? Or are you like, what is your problem? You know what I mean? I'm not the most religious person. I'm more spiritual than anything else. I have my spiritual beliefs are very different. that I don't follow like an actual religion, but I respect people who are religious because that is your personal relationship with God, creator, or whatever you believe in. So I've always respected that, right? Just like I'm, whether people want to respect me, that's fine, but I can control me. You know what I mean? So yes, do I think that we've gotten worse with that? Yes, because it's trending to be anti-religion. It's trending to be anti-God. It's trending to be anti any type of faith, right? Which me personally, I believe whether you are getting faith through religion or whatever it is, you need faith in you need some form of faith in order to pull yourself out of a lot of things. If you're running around in life with no faith, you're kind of, what are you doing? You know what I mean? No wonder why you're running around being cynical. You don't believe in nothing. You know what I mean? You have no, there's nothing saying that you're going to be better. You know what I mean? Things are going to get better. So you're running around with a cynical view of, oh, well, things are only going to get worse. So, that's just kind of how I kind of view it. And, and again, I don't tell anybody, what to believe. That's up to you. That's your relationship between you and creator. I ain't got nothing to do with that. Do we need more control or freedom? Honestly, I don't think it's either one of those, because you can try to control people and you'll create a subculture where people will do the most unruly stuff. And if you give people too much freedom, then they all become cookie cutter. And then they stop thinking for themselves. So I don't think it's either one of those things. I think what we need is just more introspective conversations, more real conversations where we're not speaking in hypotheticals, right? We're speaking, in truth. Like, hey, these are my experiences. This is what I've gone through. You know what I mean? If we're going to have those conversations, or yes, this is normal for people your age or in your age group to go through these types of things, because a lot of us who suffer from mental health, it's because we feel like we're alone. And then we, get on social media and find out that that's not the case. There's a lot of people who feel the same thing you feel. So if you're at a certain age and say your life isn't where you thought it was going to be when you were 18, 19, 25, and say you're in your 30s, that's normal. Most people are feeling that, you know. But if you're isolated and you think that it's just you, you're going to have mental health issues. You know what I mean? You may become that
No,
cynical person who ends up losing faith in whatever it is. And then now you're taking that out on other people. So I think at the end of the day, it's all relative to the victimhood.
so overall, you saying, dang, I forgot what I was about to say. No, but I think oh no, because that's why I said choose one. So you don't believe that dang, what the heck was I about to say? It was something,
I'm basically saying, Kev, like
you don't know.
I can't. To me, I see a flaw if I pick one or the other. Like it's kind of doomed if you.
It's
I'm doomed
not.
either way if
It's
I
not
choose one.
absolute. Song. It's just basically saying
Yeah.
in
No, I know,
America.
but for me, like just because of the way I'm seeing it, like if I had to choose one, I would say people probably just need to have a little bit. I think people need to have a little bit control, but I think they need to focus on what that control is, and that control isn't other people. You can only control yourself,
Right.
right? I'm tired of hearing, how many times have we sat on live and you heard people saying, "Oh, well, if you don't respect me, I'm not going to respect you." You know what I mean? I'm going to control who respects me. You can't control who respects you. You can control how you move, and if somebody wants to be disrespectful, that's on them. You don't have to lay in that bed. But a lot of people don't do that. So if I had to choose, I guess between those two, you're gonna make me choose, Kev. Twist my arm, I'm gonna say control.
That's why I specified it at the bottom. I said
That's why
choose.
I didn't see it. I'm sorry. That was my fault. That was
Man,
my
doesn't
lack of
matter.
discipline of reading the
I
whole
made sure
question. I
nobody.
take accountability. My bad.
Hey, my Pistons still got up out of here. Man, they came back. I didn't even realize they came back. Man, lost by 3 points.
Oh, you talking about the game?
I thought you were talking about something else. I thought he said three
But
points. I was like, oh
Kev,
no, he's not
look,
talking.
speaking of control, Kev, you need to start having more control or paying attention to your panelists.
I was.
Mm,
That's
mm.
true.
That's fine. But yeah. Oh, I'm sorry. I
I'm
wanted
a,
to let
Not,
us.
I need more freedom because I be doing something.
yo,
Yeah.
not Rachel emoting after that was said.
That is my baby. That's what my baby would. That's how he agrees. He be like, mm.
I forgot I was. Like, I didn't even know I do that. You made me you paying attention too much. Nah.
Is there much that y'all disagree on, or y'all agree on most things? You would say, Kev, you and Rachel.
Most things.
Yeah, most
But
things.
when we disagree, boy.
Boy, boy. But it's not even. See, that's the thing. It's not even like a real disagreement. It's like it's just a debate. It's a debate,
Yeah.
and yeah, it's not wrapped around like, this is the truth. He's He's just stating an opinion, and I'm stating an opinion.
Mm-hmm. Hey, I let y'all in on something. I think we had our deepest one. What that? A couple days ago.
Yes, it was
Yeah.
on. What was the topic? What was the topic? Oh, communication.
Yeah, our deepest one ever.
Yeah,
But
how ironic. It was
we came
communication.
around though. We came around. We had to. It was so deep. I was boy. I had like
We
three.
had 4 rounds.
We had like 4 rounds of that. We ain't never did that with
It was
anything.
so. It was so deep. He was actually gonna. He came back and he was like, you know what? I'm good. Like he wanted to end. I was like, hell nah, you ain't going nowhere. We gonna end this. But it
Man.
ended up.
I like the bounce back though, even though like that's what I say when I say like with relationships, it's not all you're not gonna always have flowers and roses and everything. It's about, how you bounce back when you don't go through, when you're not with the flowers and the roses and like I love that for y'all. I
Yeah,
really do. Like
yeah,
the bounce back.
that's why I love her so much, man. I swear, dog,
Aw.
it's crazy because it's
Oh,
like
my big head
anybody,
over there. He's smiling
any
too. I can hear
look,
it.
oh yeah, I am.
He's
But
smiling.
anybody
He
else would have
cheesing
been,
so bad right
you would
now.
have noticed on the panel if they just, if I did that disagreement, especially the one we had, it was so deep. How bad we was disagreeing at first. Well, we just was like I said, we at the end of the day we realized we was on the same page for the most part, but
I got a question for y'all when
anybody else would have
everybody goes.
internalized it, and even some of the times I might have been you know how I am when I get irritated or whatever. Sometimes I was doing some of the you know I don't know whatever, but at the end of the day, some people would have because not many people can handle me for real, especially when I get to. But anybody else probably would have been. You would have noticed on this thing they'd have been acting funny on this thing and getting in their feelings and all that stuff. And that's what I love about her. She don't internalize it. And I could tell, like I said, man, like I would tap into some unhealed people. I'll put it that way. So
Right. I want to ask you and Rachel a question real quick because I feel like you can finally answer this question. I didn't ask you before because, I've been trying to find people who be honest and y'all is honest. So I trust y'all. So do y'all think that when it comes to figuring out true compatibility with a partner, that should be done based on how well you get along or how well you guys can handle a disagreement or a debate?
It's about both. I would say it's both.
Dang, Chris, I didn't know that question was for you.
oh, right.
I just, hey, Chris, but
You good, Chris.
We came
Don't
in
let her
there.
punk you.
I
That's
am
me.
Rachel and Kev.
you see, Kev done made me like this.
Don't
Blame
don't 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 skip over my question. You lucky Chris don't saved you. Y'all gonna answer my question now.
I gotta say,
Yeah.
I gotta say the same thing what Chris said, even though he
Yeah.
both of us not, but it's literally both. Yeah, it gotta be both.
Yeah, but I think if we had to choose one, I would say your ability to handle
Oh
disagreements.
yeah, I was about to say if we had to choose one, yeah, I was thinking about that too.
Thank you.
I always said that
Yeah, I
when
agree
I
with
was
that.
younger. When I was younger, I said, but I was doing it in a toxic way. I said, man, you can find out about a person if you. Well, it sounds toxic, but it's true at the same time. I said, if you want to find out about a person quick, just go ahead and start an argument with them, see how that goes at the end. But it's
Yeah,
a true statement, but it's toxic at the same time.
yeah,
But
I
that
agree.
junk is
I'm
true though.
sorry. Now, I was gonna say, yeah, I believe that when you find somebody, you have to look at them. You have to be able to see them through all seasons, is what I'm trying to say. Like, it's not
Yep.
just, you just can't just say, well, we don't ever argue. It's like, really? Like, I don't, you agree on
You
everything.
might get
Nothing is
ran over though. That's
like,
what
really?
happened.
Like, really? Like, you need to see them through all seasons so you can know how they are when they get upset. And if you can handle that, if y'all, can come together, because that's what life is going to throw so much stuff, ups and downs and roller coasters, and you got to be able to weather the storm. Like I love that song. Can you stand? See, storms will come. But you have to
But the
like, and
thing,
not talking about the bad storms, but the ones. But you need to see that though. You need to
yeah,
see if this is a bad storm, and I can't handle this storm. But you need to know, okay, I can stand a little drizzle, rain. That's okay. I can handle that. I can get through this. So yeah, I do believe that all seasons you need to know a person through all seasons,
you,
happy, sad, cry, love, all that. Yeah,
yeah.
yes,
The
yeah.
thing is though, uh, you can't. It can't be pride behind the situation, man. That's what be tearing a lot of people's stuff up for real. And you gotta and it's not about trying to be right though. It's just trying to build understanding because you can always try to be right and shut your person down, but it's like, but do y'all understand? You know what I'm saying? So, what's the point of doing? Because like you're not gonna, like me and my baby was saying before, it was like you ain't gonna win nothing. So we ain't gonna win nothing from that. And a lot of people lose relationships because of that because they
Right.
just trying to win so bad. Sometimes you got to set to the side like, all right, man, we ain't about to get nowhere. You know what I'm
It's
saying?
why you're supposed. It's why you're supposed to go on multiple dates with the person before you actually commit to them.
And that's
Mm.
what.
Why do you say that?
Because the more dates that you go on, whether guy or girl, whatever the hell it is, like the more dates you go on them, the more you get to know them a little bit more, and then you can figure out where your differences are, and then you can both figure out if that's something that you're gonna pursue with, or move on to the next person.
Hmm?
See, I actually think going on dates is just like a fake. Like,
Well, what else would it?
Why
What
he
else would
she
it
still
no,
be?
sound
I
like me?
no,
He
I
starting to
just
sound
think
like me
that
for real.
majority of people they're just going like they dressing up, going
Not
to
like
dinner.
that. Not like
Okay,
a
well,
not like a fancy dinner every single night. Like a
mm-hmm,
coffee date. Maybe you're going to the beach. Maybe you're going to the amusement park. Maybe you're going bowling. Maybe you're just hanging out at the person's apartment or the house. Like you want
mm-hmm.
to get to know the person really well enough to know their pros and cons, so that way you don't like learn about it later on, and then you're like, well, I was like committed to this relationship for like a year and 2 years, and I just figured it out about this person now.
Yeah, I think. Yeah, I get that. I would say the things that don't cost much, like those dates, because I think people go on dates and they're just thinking about the glamorization. I know a lot. I mean, I can only speak. I think most women romanticize.
It's not like they're going out like to bowling and wearing like a Cinderella dress.
What
You
do
know what I
you?
mean?
No, 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 no. In their head, like I'm telling you,
I
it's
don't.
not. I'm just saying they forget to focus on what's important. They just asking like you go on dates, you get distracted by like the real core getting to know somebody, the real questions. Like watching someone's behavior. You just get kind of wrapped up in like, we're at the beach holding hands.
Yeah,
If
but
you know what I'm saying.
a woman's not gonna consistently go on a date with a guy if she's not interested in him.
I mean, yeah, I feel like you miss red flags
Uh,
when it's too much going on because, like Miss Edge
Yes.
said, it's like it's too much going on to distract you. Like you might see something and you think, "Oh no, but look at this," like it's not enough focus on the both individual. Like you're not focused on the partner that's at hand. You're more focused
You're
on,
you're
well,
saying it's
we're
more
doing
state.
this and
You're
we're
saying
doing
it's more
that.
status.
And
You're saying it's
posting
more
for the
the status.
gram.
Yeah, yeah,
I'm
that
sorry,
too.
say that again, Chris.
Sorry.
Say that again, Chris.
You're saying that it's more about like the status of the relationship instead of the actual core value of the relationship, which is like knowing the partner.
Yeah, people lose track of that. Like a lot of people, they just want to brag about the stuff that they're doing together.
Look at my girlfriend; she's so hot. Oh, this guy's real.
Right. Absolutely.
I want to show
Oh,
you
you
off.
just
Look
a
at
just
that.
a boob. You
I
just
want
a
to
boob.
show you
Really?
out. Wait, Perkins, what you say?
I call him a boob. Like, dude, really on the ground? You don't need to post this girl on the ground every time. You don't need to spend money on to get to know somebody. You need to spend money to get to know somebody. She don't like you.
I was just about. That's
She
what I'm
don't really
trying to
don't
get
like you.
to
You gotta
though.
spend a
I
whole
don't
bunch
know
of
about
money when you
that.
go on
I
the
don't
other
know
day
about
just
No,
to
that.
I'm
know
saying
her.
like, why do you
She
have to
really don't
even
like
do it?
your ass.
Yeah, that's all I was just about to get to. I'm
Well,
saying,
okay, I wouldn't say that majority. Okay, but okay, yeah. I think it depends where the woman comes from because some women were brought
If
up
she
to
really
believe.
likes you, she'll go anywhere. She'll go
Some
anywhere
women
with you.
were
She'll go
brought
anywhere.
up to believe that way. You know what I'm saying?
I think the dates should progressively get better. I don't think like like a $300 like dinner for a first date.
what?
It depends. Like
Or a
maybe the
cruise on the
guy
first
wants
date.
to
Who
like
goes
prove
on a
how much
cruise
money
on the
he
first date?
has. Maybe the guy wants to prove how much money he has, but at the same time, it's like You spend $300 on a date for a girl that you just
But
met, and
why? Let me say this though, for I keep forgetting it. I don't get like I've been hearing people saying that though, like we gotta go on dates just to get to know somebody. What's wrong with phone conversations? I don't get it. Like you can't have a conversation to figure out what you need to.
FaceTime, we gotta do for iPhone and shit. What the
You
fuck
don't
is
even have to do
FaceTime?
that either. You don't have to FaceTime or anything. Just know how
it's
to ask
so
the
much
right
different when you meet
questions
the
and,
person.
and talk.
When you so much
You can
Right.
different.
talk. You can hang out. I mean, you can hang out with them if you want to consider that a date. You could go to a park or something
Going to
like
the
that.
park,
See how they handle conversations with other people and stuff. And it's so many things you can do to vet. You don't have to just go out and always be eating in front of a table and all that stuff. Or
No, I'm not
you
saying
could,
that.
or y'all could just sit out in the car somewhere and talk. Just you don't have
You
to.
can talk and play Uno together and shit. See how mad she
Yeah,
get
you
when
don't have
the
to go on
girl
no
drew a
date all
fire.
that.
Right. That's what I'm talking about. Like, yeah.
See how angry. You gotta see what she angry. How she get angry. She get angry. You
That might
throw a
have to
phone
be
at her.
another
You gotta see how
topic, man.
mad
I'm
she
about to
get.
Not,
do that because I heard that
I,
too many times. People act like they got to go to dates to get to know somebody.
you know that's puppy, right? I,
I ain't.
no, no, no. But I get what Chris is saying. I think Chris is just saying like, take your time to get to know somebody. But what I'm saying, Chris, is like most of the time when people think of dates, they think of the basically flossing and showing other people, and they lose focus of
Ain't Rob.
what they're really
Yeah,
supposed to be doing.
there's two versions of a date. There's one where it's like you actually get to know the person, and then you go on like the same thing like what Perkins was saying about the Uno thing. Like you're hanging out with the person in different settings and all that stuff to get to know them. And then there's a second version of the dates where it's more about the status, where it's like the guy wants to prove that he has a lot of money
Mm-hmm.
to the girl, so he doesn't think that the girl is like he doesn't think that he's wasting the girl's time or his own time.
You don't have to, because I learned this from a ritual. Basically, guys who basically make a good six figure. You don't have to prove how much money you got. It show how you act, how you carry yourself. You don't need to sit there and prove nothing to nobody. How much
I
money
don't
you got
know.
in your
Have you ever
pockets.
seen Cat
Not
in the
you
Hat?
playing no Call of Duty Zombies over there.
Hey,
Have you
leave
ever
me my
seen Cat
clothes
in
in
the
your life.
Hat? Have you ever seen Cat in the Hat? The movie, the live action one, where the guy was pretending that he had a lot of money, but then he just didn't really have a lot of money, so that way he could get married to the ex wife, so he could take all her money. It happens. People are manipulative.
Cause I don't need to prove that. Like that's the thing I hate when they say, "Oh, we gotta prove something." Like who got to prove? I just know you. I don't have to prove nothing to you. It's like 1.5 million of you around the world. I don't have to prove nothing to you. If I like you, I'm gonna spend time with you. If I don't, I don't.
Okay, so you're more of like the actual, like realistic version of a date, where
All
it's like you
right,
get.
y'all. I'm about to shut it down on y'all. I was supposed to been on.
Oh, you about to play Call of Duty Zombies, man. That's what you about to do.
I'm about to call her sleep.
Nah,
I'm wait for
work.
her.
Dang, they hop out real quick. They know how to
Hey, hop up
listen.
out of bed. Lamont, did you? I wanted him to say. Never mind. Dang.
All
I know he been up here for a minute. Never
right,
mind.
y'all.
We
Thanks for
gonna we
inviting me.
gonna extend this tomorrow though.
Yeah, thanks for getting them riled up, Robbie.
I didn't even mean, yo, that's
You
crazy.
about to
I
really get
can't.
riled up because I'm about to do your topic tomorrow.
Yo,
Is
it's
it the
gonna be
spilling
crazy
of
up
the wine? Is it the
there. Yo,
is
it's
it the
gonna be
spilling
crazy
of
up
the
there.
wine? Is it the
Cece, I love when you're here because like you're so old, man. You're so sweet. Every
Who,
time
me?
I see
Oh,
no, not you, Rob. You
okay.
I didn't know who you was talking about.
generally you're not sweet, Rob.
generally?
Generally. No, Cece, I appreciate your presence. It's such a calming presence, and it's wonderful.
Oh, thank you, Miss Rachel.
Yeah.
I enjoy being here. Thank you for having me.
Yes.
I try. Sometimes I'll be shy, but like, nope, not getting on this night. And
I
get
know.
all rowdy,
Hey,
rowdy.
hey, look, I be watching you trying to get up off that mic every once in a while, and somebody speaks a little louder. Speak louder than them, Cece.
No, right? I'm like, come on, you got it, do it. I'm like, nope. Oh, you got it.
All right, we gotta go. Bye, Mr. John. Bye, everybody in the chat.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, my uncle's calling me back.
All right, y'all.
But
All
yes,
right, Robert.
thank you for having me. Y'all have a good night.
Good night. Good night, Perkins. Good night.
And thank you for the birthday wishes, Miss Rachel. Thank you. I saw
Of
your post. Thank you.
course, of course. Thank you.
All right, Robbie.
I
Okay, baby. I'll see you later.
All right.